visit to Kisumu region. He also mentioned that there is interference of the counties by the national government.
Mazungumzo ni sababu tumeweka Kalonzo na tutawapatia nafasi waongee vizuri, tupate suluhu ya kudumu kwa mambo hii tuko nazo. Lakini wakileta nyokonyoko, simuko tayari.
These were some of the governors who attended the meeting, including Governor Busia Paul Otomba, have already expressed their readiness to cooperate with the government for development.
So tumeketi kama serikali ya Busia na serikali kuu ambayo inaongozwa na Mheshimiwa Dr. William Ruto, tukasema tuweze kusaidiana, county government na national government, tuone ni vipi tutaweza kuinua maisha ya watu wetu. So tunajaribu sana kurudisha ukulima wa palm. Tumetembea, tumepanga, tumezungumza na serikali kuu, tumeelewana na rais na serikali yetu ya hapa kwamba kila kitu kina wakati wake. Kuna wakati wa siasa na kuna pia wakati wa kufanya kazi. We cannot be in politics for the sake of being in politics. It is a way that these people entrust us to administer their taxes on their behalf so that tuweze kutimiza zile shida ambazo zinatushika sisi wote.
Red Cross has called on the International Donor Funding Committee to provide resources that will assist in preparations towards El Nino. Speaking in Mombasa, Secretary General Ahmed Idris said that so far no funds have been channeled towards the cause in the eventuality there'll be a disaster.
Second to note, and sadly so, is that whenever we talk about early preparedness, globally speaking, there's very little resources put in place for early action. And our request and our appeal to donors, the donor community, is to avail as much resources as possible.
This is News. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people. And we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing politics of conmanship. And even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM.
If a lion shows you its teeth, it doesn't mean it likes you.
It doesn't mean it likes you. It won't start. A liar calls as witness one who is either dead or far away. Say it in Kiswahili.
Ben low, nin inte, nin there, you markati kadikta. You know this character called liar. He has disturbed people. So when you tell him who are your witnesses, he will take you to a place where it is difficult to verify.
For someone like me who sweats a lot, I cannot survive there. Sweating is biblical. Good. And you must blame it on Adam, not me. Because Adam messed up and he was told, no, you fellow, you, by the sweat of your brow, thou shalt eat.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Online, mobile, and on radio. Facebook at Spice FM KE.
All right, good morning. It's Tuesday. We're into the second day of the week. Let's take a look at what's going on these Nairobi streets this morning. A little bit of movement coming in from the Thika Superhighway. Again, we're not looking at any pain right about now. We're going to see that get into the CBD without too much of an issue. It's also starting to build up on Jogo Road, getting out into the city. And there's some of it coming out of Westlands, bits and bobs of that. But again, we should be able to get through it without any pain. Uhuru Highway is also starting to pack up, but most of it is on Jogo Road right about now. Let's wait and see how Tuesday morning pans out. And let's talk in the meantime on Spice FM KE on X.
Spice FM. Spice up your life.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Congratulations. You've seen the hand of the Lord.
Thank you very much. I've earned another title today this morning at Spice FM. Mama Justice, I don't mind it.
I must have missed it.
So did I.
Even if somebody wants to render you irrelevant, there is still work you can do.
Okay, sawa.
I deserve to keep you accountable. You deserve to give me a report. You don't work for me. I don't work for you. You work for me.
Do you like that Freudian slip? Lovely, isn't it? Thank you very much.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up.
How you doing? It's the 12th day of September 2023. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. Leo ni Tuesday. Ndu.
Yes.
Unasikiaje hiyo?
That's
Tuesday.
Give me a minute. Kwambia tu saa hii.
Kwanza ujisikilize kidogo. Ujisikilize kidogo. Uone kama umeelewana. Tuko pamoja.
If me and this Tuesday will talk to ourselves. Ndu, Tuesday, how is it? We'll agree.
Mkubaliane. City.
Yes, please.
How's it for you?
Mi pia najisikiliza.
You're listening to yourself.
Naona how this Tuesday na sisi tutaendelea. But it's a good Tuesday.
Itakavyokuja.
Yeah, vile ilivyo.
Very good.
And you, how is your Tuesday? You know what they say about man in a maroon striped tie?
Yeah, what do they say?
It's for me to know and for you to find out.
But that's what he's trying to do.
Who are these?
People.
Yeah, and what were they doing when they had...
what are they discussing?
Yani of all the things they could discuss, they decided to discuss a tie.
A man in his eye.
These people are very idle.
in a maroon striped tie.
Exactly.
That tie is nice.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yangui. Oh, we're talking about this one. Kumbe. Si mungeniambia bwana, I prepare myself for this and I'll start the conversation.
Onslaught of compliments.
So, right. So what do they say about a man?
In a maroon striped tie on
I
a
happen to be
Tuesday
a
morning.
man.
You happen to be a man in a maroon striped tie on a Tuesday morning. Right.
Lakini mambo iko sawa.
Tunajaribu
na tunashukuru Mungu. Tunashukuru Mungu. Yeah. We just seen a message on the updates on Sean Cardovelis. Sean Cardovelis. I'm Sean Cardovelis. Tragic, that one. He passed away. City.
Yes, please.
Have you now listened to yourself? Good morning.
Morning.
Are you well?
Yes.
Very good.
And yourself?
I'm very well.
Sana. Yes.
Mdu?
Yes.
Mumeambianaje?
Tunaona vile tutaendelea.
Yeah.
Lakini tumekubali tuko hapa, so we gotta do what?
Yeah.
We gotta make the best of it.
Accept and move on.
That's right.
Bas. Huna budi ila.
Scary.
Kukubali. Mambo Olivia. Unajua. Hey mambo. Vela inaenda. Hapa hii watu ya Baringo ya kati.
Na daktari.
Na daktari. Mzee alipatia mimi baskeli yake. Kakuja nayo. Hapa.
Baringo.
Akasalimia nyenye sana. Mumepokea?
Napokea salamu.
Moga. Umepokea?
Whatever he's drinking is slapping properly.
Nacheza na unga.
But it's working.
Proper.
All right, everybody, good morning. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation this Tuesday morning. Let me tell you what we'll be discussing. Wait, what are we discussing at 9? How come I didn't see it? Imeenda wapi? Hiyo mambo ya 9 a.m. So we were scheduled to have the Cabinet Secretary for, it's a whole long ministry of Land, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, Zakaria Mwangi Njeru. He was to come in this morning as we host these Cabinet Secretaries this whole week, looking at what have you been doing since you came into office. Remember, we are looking at Ruto celebrating and marking 1 year in office. Ruto and Rigiji. Their ministers came into office a couple of months later. But it doesn't matter. The Kenya Kwanza administration is 1 year in office tomorrow, 13th. It was today, tomorrow, last year.
And here we have voila.
Tomorrow was today last year. Was a Tuesday last year. And that's when Ruto did higher and Rigiji did
evil.
So anyway, the Cabinet Secretary was will unfortunately not be able to join us. Apparently ameitwa na mdosi kuja
hapa.
Hizi nyumba unasema ziko wapi? Boss, unajua nilikuwa naenda Spice. Ilikuwa kesho.
Ufanya hivi, wewe tumekuwa salamu kuja.
Waambie pole sana. Kuja.
Na uambie mimi ndio nimeita wewe.
Waambie in case ni mimi. Sasa haya. So that's what we were to discuss at 7 and 8 a.m. But then, let's now have a conversation about, you've seen on social media and people who go to the parks. You wake up in Nairobi like this in the morning and like, oh, this weather looks fantastic. How about you just do a drive into the Nairobi National Park? What? You get there, jam on Langata Road. Why? Queues. Why? Because processing of people entering the park has just become a whole new nightmare. Because of this new order by the government, we are going to have one single pay bill number.
For everything.
This thing at kila mtu akona pay bill yake. We don't even know whose pay bill we're paying into. One pay bill number. Now you have to use that going to eCitizen to get, so it's a whole confusion. We're inviting stakeholders in the tourism industry to come and have this conversation with us. One of them is a chairperson of the Kenya Tourism Federation, who is also the chairperson of the Kenya Association of Tour Operators, Fred Odek. And the second person is Dr. Joseph Kithitu. He is the chairman of the Kenya Association of Travel Agents. Those two gentlemen join us at 7 a.m. to discuss mambo inaendaje, and also looking at the tourism sector with all these things that have been happening in the country, all these big meetings. How's the sector doing? Robert Mundia is the CEO of Biovend East Africa. He joins us at 9 a.m. Water shortage. Should we embrace sewage water treatment for reuse? we can reuse, but is it for redrink?
Do you
Reuse is
think about
okay,
it?
but sewage water,
For cooking.
redrink, recook,
Problems.
reflush, okay. But, City, what do you think?
Me, this thing, I've heard it. I've heard, but it has not sunk.
You take it through purification process, it comes out as grey water. Then you take it further through some more purification process, it becomes
Clear.
white water.
Where?
And they're saying you can drink it.
They are saying.
So they can drink it.
Anyway, at 9 a.m., we'll have that conversation. Hii mambo ya sewage retreatment inaendaje? Yeah. We are live streaming the show, aren't we? Today, our Edna for today is Mombi. Mombi says the live stream is up on YouTube and Facebook. Say hello to Mombi and Eric and City and Ndu. After Ndu does like that with the weather forecasts. Cindy? Yeah.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
At 14 degrees this morning, Nairobi is mostly cloudy. Highs of 26. We'll see lows of 14. 14 will be the low in a partly cloudy Nakuru at 15, going to highs of 25. 15 will also be the low in a mostly cloudy Nyeri at 16, going to highs of 26. We'll see highs of 23 in a cloudy Eldoret at 12. It's 23 and partly cloudy in Mombasa, highs of 30, I beg your pardon. And we'll see highs of 30 in a partly cloudy Malindi at 23. It's 19 and cloudy in Kisumu, highs of 28 and lows of 18. And at 18, it's cloudy in Kakamega, highs of 27 and lows of 16. It's clear at 17 in Kampala, highs of 27, and we'll see highs of 29 in a partly cloudy Dar es Salaam at 23. It's 4 degrees in Johannesburg, highs of 18, and at 26, Lagos is mostly cloudy, going to highs of 29. 34 will be the high in a clear Kinshasa at 23. Looking into Tuesday afternoon, Beijing is sunny at 26, highs of 27, and it's mostly cloudy at 18 in Paris, highs of 22 and lows of 17. 18 and cloudy in London, highs of 23, and we'll see lows of 16, and at 22, New York is mostly clear, highs of 28 and lows of 20.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice.
Fanya namna hiyo.
Good morning, people. And just before we get into it, Kaiser Obed, our friend, turns a year older today.
Allah?
Imagine that.
Allah?
Happy birthday, Kaiser. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, man. Always good to have you every morning.
Karibu sana.
Karibu. Don Sabwa says, good morning, the great three. The phrase, how are you, in Malawi is, get this, Bobo.
Bobo.
Bobo to you.
Bobo to you too.
Bobo
now,
is how are you?
The response to Bobo is
Mambo.
Bobo.
Bo.
Well done.
Well, that's simple.
Therefore, Bobo CT, respond
Bo.
Fantastic. And yesterday we say Zulo. Yesterday is Zulo.
Yesterday is Zulo.
Yeah.
Okay. Zulo Bo.
Zulo Bo.
And today?
Leo ni Leo. Benson Kiplagat says, always tuned in. Life is awesome, says good morning. Habari Wanainchi says, Tupac Shakur, it never dies. Good morning, Ndu CT and Eric. Looking forward to your show this happy Tuesday. Positive vibes indeed. Rainbows and bunnies and all those good things. Good morning, tuned in from Nairobi. Looking forward to an enlightening morning. That's Dismas Ombuya. John Kyangu says, good morning, good people. Wishing everyone a fantastic day. Now, Tupac has called me Andy. I'm going to assume that it's, those things. It's called what?
What?
On your phone when you're typing something, then it guesses for you. It's called predictive text.
Autocorrect.
So the people in the thing have decided that Ndu is not a word. It must be Andy. These guys must have gotten it wrong.
Right.
So, Andy and Andy, CT and Mwalimu, and Eric are disturbing my governor in Mandera. How?
Because of why?
What did we do?
Okay. Perhaps he could enlighten us. What is it that we did that would equals disturbing my government Mandela.
I don't know, but he's warning us. I mean, to warn.
We have been warned, but it would be nicer if we were clear about the details of the warning.
The details of that, he's carrying a chabunyo. What is that? Sounds like a weapon.
Is it nyahunyo?
Maybe.
I'm unaware, but we'll see. Agri Bomanyi says, good morning, Spices. Today I wanted to discuss climate change, but I realize I have little knowledge, so nikakubalie kupita tu. Okay, sawa. Good morning, my favorite station. Sophia Damari is tuned in. Hamjambo CT into an Eric tuned in from Kisumu as you spice the morning. Ngulamu, Jonathan is tuned in. Jimmy Wekesa says good morning. Ngalamu again, good morning. Miguel says good morning, Team Spice. Excited for another day of insightful conversations. James Nakubwana. I've skipped everybody.
Watu ni wengi
sana. Okay. Edna Ombaso is tuned in somehow. We see you. Good morning. Johnny Joe says, good morning, Situation Room. Hello, sir. CT Muga tuned in from Singapore. This place where people have been quoting.
Yeah.
Do you know where it is?
Yes. Edna has said good morning to Kaiser.
Yeah.
Na sisi hawezi kutusalimia.
Imagine. This is discrimination of the highest order.
That's perfectly all right.
Edna, we know where you live.
We do. And the house hasn't changed.
We'll
and we even know the floor. And the door number.
From Riverside Park, MK says, good morning. Alafu, Latiff, do you know how to tie a tie? Are you can tie?
He does.
He does? Or is those ones you just put over the neck?
No. That tie has been tied.
Unanunua tie unamwambia fungani hii tie.
Kabisa.
Fungani hii tie.
So mimi,
ama sinunui.
Alafu nivurushe. It's been tied very well. Texas is locked in. Hiram Gadondu says good morning. Nancy Gatonia says good morning, my favorite team. And Robert Mbogo says good morning. Good morning and happy birthday. It is not my birthday. I would not be singing to myself. It is Kaiser Obed's birthday and we've wished him happy birthday. Shafhe Haj says good morning from Moyale. Duke of Boisanga. Where is Boisanga?
Huko kwao.
Sawa. Eric Latiff, Madam Ndu and CT Muga. I'm wishing you a fantastic start to the day. Tuned in and ready to go. Hey, many people.
Watu ni wengi.
Jeffrey, Iko, DJ, Ogana, everybody. We see you. If I didn't mention your name, doesn't mean the love is less. Mob, karibuni sana.
Yes, indeed. City?
Yes.
Sierra Leone?
We are still in the country of Sierra Leone.
Righty.
When a single hair has fallen from your head, you are not yet bald.
Now this is the hair of Nyeri. Okay.
Sio Sungura.
Okay.
I wasn't quite sure where you were going with that.
Not Sungura.
Got it.
Yes.
No, this is Eric Latiff speaking about.
Remember the other day we had a conversation about the hair doing what?
Yes. And we have to be clear.
Yeah, we have to be very clear.
Yes.
Which hair?
Yes.
Yeah. When a single hair has fallen
from your head, you are not yet bald. Bald as in kipara, not bold as in
courage.
There's bold.
That's bold.
Then there's bald, otherwise known as bald.
Like the eagle, which is actually not bald. It's got feathers on his head. But anyway, that's a conversation
for another
eagle.
Day. People are very strange.
Very strange.
The eagle has feathers we can see.
Yeah, but they say it's bald.
Okay. So maybe it makes them happy.
It's okay.
The eagle won't be happy though.
Surely. You
can't see.
Just like a single hair falling off your head and then you go, oh my God, kipara imeanza.
I'm over.
Single hair.
Finis.
Cha drama. Hi, headlines.
Headlines on the front page of Standard this morning. Jitters over pace of Ruto Raila talks. Who is jittering and why? With tight deadlines to come up with a report that will inform changes in the country's laws, the speed of talks has leaders raising eyebrows on whether the agenda will be fully discussed and on time to effect changes. Okay, there's the report that's carried across media and it says treat drug abuse or lose a generation.
Wow.
More than half of Kenyans have used drugs or a substance of abuse in their lifetime. Alcohol and tobacco were the mostly wide used substances of 19% and 15% respectively. There is an increasing demand for cheaper and readily available alcoholic products, especially changa. So that came out and has everybody, doing the dance.
Right. The changa.
The changa.
Right.
So, Sakaja has unleashed taxes on city hustlers. And they've said he is trying to squeeze Nairobians dry.
Squeeze them where?
Everywhere.
Okay.
There's a bus, there's a boss, and there is a CS. Now the CS has thrown the boss under the bus.
Allah.
That's a headline. You want to know what it's about? Hold on and we'll tell you. On the front page of The Nation, how Raila was caught flat-footed. He was when? On the evening of August 8th, just hours before polling stations opened for what would be one of the most fiercely fought presidential elections, a court sitting in Nairobi overturned an earlier decision to compel the electoral agency to use manual registers to identify voters. That and the very late move by a section of Azimio bigwigs to change party agents at 2 a.m. on election day may have just worked against Raila Odinga. It's looking at a year into or after the 2022 elections and what could have gone wrong. One would ask if it matters, but okay. State invites bids to operate port assets. The president had earlier opposed these plans, but clearly they're coming back. School, still an issue. Varsities demanding fee, says first years. Some colleges defying Machogu's directive. We saw this already, but it still apparently is an issue. We thought that everybody was going to be asked to come to school and get in no matter what until they figured out the funding model. But universities are saying, no, we're supposed to do this when we still have not received the funding from the loans or however it is that you're going to, or we don't even know how this is going to work. All right, so those are some of the things happening. Over to you, Roger.
All right, Roger. 60 billion shilling loan deposit gap piles pressure on SACCOs. Remember, headline yesterday in the Business Daily was about how people are putting in more money into their bank accounts as deposits. And it had grown by how much in 6 months?
400 billion.
Like that.
Yep.
Now, let's look at the other side. Uko pande ile ingine ya studio, SACCO borrowings are surging at a faster rate than that of deposits, leaving the savings and credit unions facing a negative wealth position and exposed to expensive debt to fund member lending. The gap between loans and deposits grew by a large margin to 60 billion shillings in 2022. How much people have put in deposits versus how much people have borrowed from the SACCO? 60 billion shillings more borrowed than what has been saved. That means that SACCOs are actually have more money out than they have in. Right? Indicating that members sought money from the cooperatives via loans and withdrawals at a faster rate than they made new savings in a period of economic challenges. Latest data from the SACCO Society Regulatory Authority, SASRA, shows that by the end of last year, SACCOs were holding deposits worth 620 billion shillings, and yet they had loaned out 680 billion shillings to members. That loan book grew by 11.8% from 608.7 billion in 2021, and deposits expanded by 9.8% from 5 to 64 billion. SASRA is warning that the mismatch between deposits and loans leaves SACCOs with huge loan demands, facing high finance costs as they borrow from other financial institutions to top up their lendable pool of funds. You guys. So now, because the members have lent you less than they're borrowing, you have to go and borrow as a SACCO from elsewhere so that you can lend to your members. That now is exposing you. Big issue. Ruto pushes for hustler-friendly treasury bills and bonds trading. The president has directed CBK to lower the entry level in treasury bills and bonds trading to accommodate a wider pool of retail investors. He said yesterday that there's need to demonstrate investments in government securities, citing similar efforts made in the past with the mobile-based Emakiba bond. There's a case I'd like to make for people who do not necessarily want to work with 50,000. How about somebody buying a bond at 5k? Surely. Why must we just talk about 50,000 shillings? Ni mambo gani? Okay, those are the two main headlines in the Business Daily. City?
The Star. Right. Top right-hand corner in Till Green. Tough rules. Bill proposes 10 million fine for rogue hiring agencies. This is a story on page 8. Right. That's very good. Remember those agencies that employ people? I know someone's going to say they don't employ people. They,
Posts.
look for placement and so forth when they employ people. Okay. So apparently, there are some rogue ones, and these rogue ones are supposed to face penalties. But how can they be rogue until a court determines they're rogue? Or are they guilty as charged even before they go to a court of law?
What is the bill saying?
The bill comes at a time several employment agencies have been put on the spot over conning Kenyans out of millions of shillings. That's what it says. The proposed law also provides for mandatory vetting of private recruitment firms to ensure their integrity. Kwani, I thought this happened.
It's not mandatory?
That's
so
what
they must be registered with the employment authority.
Yes. And I think they must also follow the bottom-up policy. Otherwise, and they would argue that that's what they were doing because we're looking for wananchi. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And trying to get the wananchi. I know people who've been waiting for the last year, having paid all the details.
To get placement.
Yes. And they keep being told, we'll let you know.
Why?
But you see, I don't think there's any nefarious activity here. Placements have to occur when the opportunity presents itself.
Yep.
So there may be a queue. But this doesn't seem
so why pay? You're paying for what?
If you don't pay, then you can't be in the queue.
It's a placeholder, right?
Yes.
The payments.
Umelock opportunities. Opportunity kitoka. I think you get where I'm going with this one.
You pay tens of thousands of shillings.
Yes.
So that you buy a slot in the queue.
Yes. Because you're waiting. You're being told as soon as opportunity arises, we'll tell you. As soon as it rises, we'll tell you. Now.
So you need registration. That's
acceptance. Sasa, this is where I think clarity is required so that these things are out in the open. When you approach an agency that purports to be able to procure placement for you, these are the things that must happen. That now. So that let it be in the open that we know that this is what is required. So one doesn't go there blind. So that any fairy tale that is given to you becomes plausible. And someone who's in need will believe anything. Because once they've paid the money, what's in their mind is that they've got a job. And actually, they don't have anything. What they have is they've had an opportunity to pay someone money. Right. But this one, we have to talk about. There is Sakaja telling people about El Nino and they're preparing. Water drainage, storm drainage, saying some people live in informal settlements may have to move. This is the first time, in all honesty, that I've actually heard a leader in a position of authority talking about preparing for heavy rains. First time. I mean, maybe you guys have heard before. Me, I haven't heard. It has probably happened, but I didn't hear. I'm hearing for the first time. And he's saying he's organizing himself and organizing people. The requisite departments are being put on high alert and they've started working. I will want to go and see what they mean by they've started working.
Voila.
Yes, because they're going to list where they're going to go. We'll find out.
Yeah, but yesterday he was launching that program with very many newly recruited environment officers, young people.
Environment officers simply means people who clean and that's environment. When you hear environment, but there's yes, takataka, that's environment. There's an interesting case here over the Aror Kumaror matter. Remember that one? State goes after magistrate in Rotich graft case. This is the headline, but that's not what the story reads. It reads that the 63 billion Aror Kumaror Dam scam case against former Treasury CS Henry Rotich took a new twist on Monday, with the state going after trial magistrate Eunice Nyutu to quit after hearing the matter. I don't understand. Going after how?
Okay.
There was a brief standoff when the hearing resumed on Monday with only one witness present. Again, how many were supposed to be present?
So the prosecution wants that to acquit herself, to recuse herself.
They wanted you.
Hebu soma hiyo story tupatie.
Nisome?
Utatupatie, wacha tufanye break. Fanya traffic kwanza, sio?
Yes.
Alafu city pata detail ya hii.
Yes.
Ile
big detail.
Conservers tea. Chai ya Dairy Best.
Chai ya maziwa. Chai ya nguvu.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
All right, so where are we? We're looking at a little bit of traffic on Jogo Road, taking us into the city. Landis Road is looking pretty good. There'll be a bit of a hold-up right at that Kamkunji roundabout, but you'll be fine thereafter. Look at the Thika Superhighway. Traffic is spilling over all the way from Survey out towards the Pangani Underpass. Before that, coming in through towards GSU, through from Githurai. There's a lot of traffic. It's starting to build up there. The service lanes are doing folks good, though, until you get to that bottleneck at Pangani. Coming out of Westlands, you'll be all right. And Limu Road is not packing up just yet, but we'll probably see some movement closer to 7 o'clock, and then traffic hour beckons. On the Southern Bypass, you're good to go all the way through towards Langata Road. And the mess that we saw on Magadi Road coming out towards Langata Road yesterday, probably not. At least not for now. Again, it's a wait and see kind of situation. If you look on over towards Mombasa Road and then feeding over to Cabanas and then North Airport Road, we'll see movement heading towards the Outer Ring Junction and then towards the Eastern Bypass. It's a good Tuesday morning. Let's see how it unfolds. Let us know what's going on where you are and talk to us on Spice FM, KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Higher. Tukisonga. Do you have the story, City?
I do.
Okay, let's go.
This is how the story goes. State goes after magistrate in Rotich graft case. Remember, I read and said, well, this is what happened.
Yeah.
There was a brief standoff when the hearing resumed on Monday, but only one of the 11 witnesses who had been bonded by the prosecution showed up. And even the one who showed up, by the name of David Walunya Ongare, he was unwell and could not therefore take the stand. Okay? So the ODPP ikoshida, because the person who was supposed to be the substantive director, though vetted by Parliament 2 weeks ago, a gentleman by the name of Renson Ingoga, he's yet to be sworn in. And the response was, Prosecutor Geoffrey Obiri told the court that owing to the Africa Climate Summit, last week, the post-vetting process for Ingonga was formally, to formally resume office was not concluded.
This Ingoga is who?
He's a prosecution witness.
Huh?
DPP. The new DPP.
Okay.
New DPP.
Okay.
It's called Renson.
He's not been sworn in.
Yes.
Okay.
All
yes.
right,
So therefore now?
So now, therefore, some of these things which are being delayed are not taking place because he hasn't been sworn in. Okay. There's no substantive holder of the office of the DPP. I'm reading what has been written.
Please start the story again.
The prosecution had begun making an oral application for adjournment. Yes. Saying Director of Public Prosecution needed to give new directives on the matter.
New directives.
Directions is what they said. They said directives. The office of the DPP is currently without a substantive director, and the nominee, Renson Ingonga, is yet to be sworn in. Ingonga was vetted by Parliament 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Are we clear there?
Are we clear?
Are we together?
Yes.
All right.
We're together?
We're together.
Right. Prosecutor Geoffrey Obiri told the court that owing to the Africa Climate Summit, no less, that took place in Nairobi last week, the post-vetting process for Ingonga to formally resume office are yet to be concluded. Okay. Now, they thus sought to have the hearing taken out of this week, awaiting further instructions from the incoming DPP, who would be sworn in on Thursday, which is day after tomorrow. Okay. Now the heart of the matter. The magistrate, however, declined the request, saying the matter had been adjourned the previous week over similar issues and that her court was duty-bound to ensure matters are heard expeditiously. So, can you connect the headline and the story?
Tuendelee.
It's finished.
Why is they going after the magistrate?
That is what I said. That's what I was telling you.
Put in the headline.
State goes after magistrate in Rotich graft case standoff.
Huh?
Yes. Only one out of 11 witnesses showed up in court. There's nothing here.
The intro?
State goes after magistrate.
That's headline.
That's the intro. Then intro number 2.
Uh-huh.
The 63 billion Aror Kimorer Dam scam case against former Treasury CS Henry Rotich took a new twist on Monday when with the state going after trial magistrate Eunice Kagure Nyutu to quit hearing the matter.
Okay, go on.
All right. There was a brief standoff when the hearing resumed on Monday, with only one of the 11 witnesses who had been bonded for prosecution showing up in the court. Bro, there's
no way where they talk about what they have said.
The closest is asking her to quit, closes. And then when you follow, all she said was, this case, I'm continuing with it. Forget it. You postponed it 2 weeks ago. My job is to carry on with this. I'm carrying on with this thing. But there is no elaboration on why she was told to quit, if indeed.
And there's even the standoff is not clear.
Which standoff?
Of course, it isn't clear. There is no standoff here. Where's the standoff? Unless they're saying.
Unless this story was then some edited and some detail was removed.
I think so. The prosecution said they'd like this thing to be postponed, and he said no. Maybe that's what they're calling a standoff. That is not a standoff.
And maybe that story was the writer of the story had given the detail, the sub-editor, so space imeisha.
Chop.
Yeah, if space imeisha, then it means
the juice.
Well, the juice has
because
been
there
taken.
could have been a standoff.
Yes, if it's standoff, then it has been taken by Malindi Water and Sewage Company because there's an ad. Then the other bit has been taken by county government of Kisumu. That's public notice. So
Jesus.
I'm sure you want to tell us about Sakaja
and
squeezing us.
He's squeezing us. All right. Sakaja unleashes chwa, tax wrath, boom, on city hustlers. Listen to some of these numbers.
Okay.
Increased tax, 39,000 shillings is the rent for a shop at City Market, and it has increased from 30,000 shillings just like that. And a large store, one will pay 3,250 shillings more than what they were paying before. The cost of cremation at the Langata Cemetery goes up by 3,200 shillings from 16,800 to 20,000 for adults. Using the chapel will cost 500 shillings more. 10,000 shillings is what you will pay to be allowed to plant a nursery, and you will need to cough up that amount. So it is up to you to determine what nursery means. You know, grow some herbs, grow some trees. 10,000 bob.
Nursery ya miti ama watoto?
Apana bana. You plant children.
Okay. Just to be clear, boy.
Sorry, please. 300 shillings is the daily parking fees, up from the 200 shillings for saloon cars. 1,000 shillings, mama karanga, fish hawkers. Sasa muna karanga samaki, jugu. You will now part with 1,000 shillings. All right, so let's look at the details on page 4. And the headline is, how Sakaja plans to squeeze Nairobians dry in order to grow revenue. Nairobi County is out to further squeeze the city's residents with higher taxes and levies, even as they are still reveling from the recent tax measures that the national government has exposed to them following the implementation of the Finance Act 2023. Let's look at some more numbers. The cost of cutting a tree in the county varies from 1,000 to 8,000 shillings, depending on the size. So you can't just go, as CT would say, willy-nilly. Cutting down trees, you must pay for it. If it's a big, mature tree, 8,000 shillings you pay to the county.
Okay.
10,000.
And when the council is cutting trees?
I don't know if they pay themselves. Or they have a conversation, say, okay, now council, we have seen we need to. Okay. 10,000 shillings is what vendors would pay if they want to venture into Uhuru Park for business. And they will need a trading license of that amount and a clearance certificate of 4,000 shillings.
10K.
Okay. If you want to sell smoky, those things.
Including even those restaurants. Kwa hizo mandege, hizo magari.
Everybody.
Bora
equal. Wait, there's more. It's inside. If you're
Uhuru
walking
Park.
up, vendors walking about. I'll tell you about establishments.
Okay, all right.
5,000 shillings. If you were speaking in the past, what did that guy say? Don Sabo said yesterday. Zulo.
Today is one.
Yesterday was Zulo.
Okay.
If you were paying yesterday for an event in Uhuru Park, you would have paid 5,000 shillings. That was on the 11th of September. Today, if you want to host an event in Uhuru Park, you will pay 100,000 shillings.
Very good.
95,000 shillings up.
Very good.
Sawa.
Those people are paying only 5K.
5K. Now you'll pay 100K.
To hold an entire crusade.
Imagine. Or you hold a concert where you're charging people 500 bob. 125,000 shillings is a new trade license charges for supermarkets operating within the county. All.
How much?
125,000.
All right.
An annual trade license charges for international airlines is 500,000 shillings. Traditional cabs to pay 3,000 shillings per month on street parking. Now, traditional cabs are not your online hailing. In Nizileza, nataka kwenda airport.
Zile on a yellow line.
Yo.
Okay.
5,000 shillings cabs to pay another 5,000 to pick up and drop annually. So you pay 3,000 to park on the road, right? And you pay another 5,000 to say, look, I'm picking up a fella here, or I'm dropping off a lady here.
Okay.
5,000 shillings, both digital and traditional cab operators to pay 5,000 pick and drop. So even the digital hailing
Ubers
guys.
and the Bolts.
All right. There's another 1,500 shillings for taxi registration fee to be paid by both digital and traditional cabs. Or more. These cab guys seems to be hitting it to 5,000 to pick and drop, 3,000 to park, 1,500 just, to register. Now, City.
Yes.
When you've decided that you want to take the gospel of Charles Timothy Muga to the streets, you can't just be walking about with your Bible and collecting sadaka. You pay 1,000 bob, and then we'll allow you to just preach.
So once I pay, it's like WorldCoin. Once I pay that 1,000, I'm like WorldCoin. I can now just talk the way I want.
And say the kingdom of God is nigh.
That's annual. I'm a per day.
Per day. You can't come tomorrow. If you come tomorrow, you'll pay again.
1,000 bob per day.
Yes, please.
So,
okay. Then border riders will pay 1,000 shillings to ferry passengers and deliver goods in the city.
Just hold.
Sir?
But if I pray for them, can they give me a discount?
Who? The city council?
They said that's for
No, that's just for preaching.
You pray for them, they help you raise that 1,000 bob kulipa kanjo.
Yeah, kanjo is only.
No, that 1,000 is standard.
Yasakayo ni yasakayo.
Unalipa.
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right. Now, borders into the city has always been a pain, right? So Sakaja says, look, instead of city council chasing you, Askari is chasing you every minute up and down, don't get into the city. Look here, pay 1,000 shillings. You come and deliver goods, whatever. You can even park, whatever. Deliver your goods and then you may go.
Daily entry.
1,000 shillings.
All right.
Okay. So to enter the CBD.
Who's paying 1,000?
Borders.
Border. Okay.
Picky riders.
1,000 shillings.
Yes, please. 500 shillings. Now, if you preach in the city, it's 1,000. If you want to preach at Jivanji or Kamkunji, it's 500. So if you've seen these people in the CBD are doing me anyhow.
Okay.
Now enter into an enclosed Jivanji there. You can preach there for 500.
Uhuru Park?
Uhuru Park, sorry, is 1,000. We're not agreeing.
Why?
I don't look.
Uhuru Park is 1,000.
Anywhere in the city.
But Uhuru Park is 100 Gs to hold a meeting.
No, but this one is those ones who walk around saying
you're in a meeting,
Okoka.
No, it's not a meeting.
No, it's not a meeting. It is you, sole preacher, walking about.
It's not a meeting.
Do you understand?
It's just you.
Now, if you bring people, crusade, all of you, baptism by fire, those kind of things.
But I guess Uhuru Park could then be treated like Jivanji. It's enclosed.
Yes, and it's also CBD. Even Jivanji is CBD.
Yeah.
But now they're giving you an offering of now a smaller space.
Okay.
But this one, if you want to start walking on Mombasa Road and you want to be walking as you're preaching all the way you're going to Westlands, for the day, you pay 1,000. Please don't argue. If you have seen, and maybe you collect more people on the way.
Yeah.
But now in this one spot, inside Jivanji, is 500. Now, if you should step outside Jivanji and start preaching, and you've paid 500, we'll charge you 1,000.
1,000.
You follow me so far? Okay.
Shit, you top up 500.
No, please. You not top up 500. You pay another 1,000.
Can I pay in installments?
No, sorry. Today, you pay. No, sorry, Eric. You can't.
Okay.
It's interesting because one of the things that the governor said when he was here actually was that, look, in order for us to raise our revenue, number one, and in order for us to provide the things that we need in order for the county to work, we're going to have to charge for some activities that's going to bring in the much needed revenue. And we've seen that, no sooner than had he said that some of these measures come into place. He said, other than increasing old rates for different services, the county government, through the finance bill, has also proposed the introduction of new charges for new services and use of the same old facilities that did not attract any changes previously. The bill has proposed a review of the Nairobi City Council Transport Act, increasing the amount of money that motorists pay to park in Zone 1, including town and other nearby areas such as Westlands, Eastleigh, Upper Hill, Industrial Area and Gigiri.
How much?
To 300 shillings from 200.
Okay.
So looking at ways in which we can bring in as much revenue as possible to keep the county going. So for people who will park
in Eastleigh, they're charging the same amount.
300 bob.
Yes.
Kupak Eastleigh.
Yeah. So
this 20 billion shilling he must raise.
Yes. And he said if he raises the 20 billion shillings, own source revenue, right? There's so many things then that they will be able to do. And so he's embarked on that. Good in some cases, not so good in others, but hey.
Good luck to him, man. So he's presented it to the county assembly.
Yes, he has.
Okay.
It will pass.
You think so?
It will pass.
Everything?
By the time he's being this ambitious and talking about it, he's already crossed his T's and dotted his I's.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Because if you haven't, and you make such an announcement, where?
Let's follow what will be happening. Meanwhile, let me tell you, so this is Nairobi. Things are working smoothly. Governor and the county assembly seem to have some kind of understanding. Kiambu, on the other hand, every day, drama. MCA is calling press conference and saying, Huyu mutu, huyu. Huyu.
What really is going on in that
Huyu.
place?
It is Wamatangi saying, Wamatangi is focused on delivering. But cartels are using some MCAs to rabble-rouse. And he says, Wamatangi himself entangled in a fierce battle pitting him against MCAs and MPs who seek his removal, alleging that he was marginalizing them and displaying incompetence. However, when he was attending a Thanksgiving service in Roiro yesterday for KU Ward MCA Zachary Masharia, the governor said he is committed to safeguarding county resources, particularly public land. He said he was actively working to reclaim several parcels designated as public land, a commitment that he asserted was putting him in the crosshairs of certain elected leaders acting on behalf of cartels. On September 14th, we placed an advert in one of the papers listing more than 3,000 properties within Kiambu. We requested the owners to provide ownership documents and details on how they acquired these properties. We suspect some of them are acquired through fraudulent means. He is alleging that influential cartels masquerading as investors have resorted to using a section of sitting MPs and MCAs to foment unnecessary disputes. So he's saying, look, I am trying to fight corruption. Corruption is trying to fight back. We will meet in the ring. I will emerge victorious.
Mano el mano.
You know, there's a story that has appeared in the Star, the Nation, and also in the Standard. In the Nation, this is it is headlined. Report, alcohol cannabis use has spiked in the last 5 years. There's increased preference for cheap and readily available alcohol. Then they list 1 in every 14 youth, that is around 596,000, were addicted to alcohol. Then they say 247,000 addicted to tobacco, 112,000 addicted to cat, 1 in every 83 were addicted to cannabis. Hey, my goodness gracious me. That is the Nation. Then when you go to the Standard, them they even they go into some really crazy details. Tobacco is the most abused drug by people, says Nakada. That's their headline. The minimum age of initiation of tobacco is 6 years, alcohol 7 years, and cannabis 8 years. Then
8 years.
8. 156,000 primary school children abusing tobacco.
I beg your pardon?
156,461 primary school pupils are abusing tobacco. 127,456 primary school pupils are abusing alcohol, primary school. 1,357,040 Kenyans aged 15 and 65 who are addicted to alcohol. 3,784,854 Kenyans aged between 15 and 65 who use at least one drug or the other substance. Now, the Star has given it a headline. Mess, women hiring boarders to collect alcoholic husbands and sons. Addiction crisis, they call it. And I think this is an appropriate headline. It's a crisis. Teens hooked to animal medicine. Okay? Age of initiation alcohol is 7, same thing as the others. Now, drug and substance abuse in Kenya. Alcohol, men, they give statistics. Over 2,500,000 men are addicted to alcohol. Women are 687. Bangi, 475,000 men addicted to bangi. Women, just 43,000. Tobacco, 2 million men. Women, 287 addicted to tobacco. Prescription drugs, men, 18,000. Women, 41,000 addicted to drugs.
What?
Yes, there are more women addicted to prescription drugs than men in Kenya.
Like over 3 times more.
Yes. Over 3 times more.
Okay.
Muguka Mira, men, 856,000 men addicted, women 108. Multiple drugs, meaning hapa na pale na hii na ile. Men, 1.5 million, women 100 188. Now, these are statistics that they have acquired. Now, the thing that I found really, really shocking is that cocaine has become an issue. And that people are initiated in this country at the age of 16, and we even have cocaine addictions in the country. It's not a thing that happens in the West. It's not something that is a story that you're going to point a finger and say it is there. It's with us.
It's been here with us.
This disaster we've been talking about, and we've been calling it a mental health crisis, my friend, it is with us.
What?
It is a serious, serious problem.
Now, NACADA, that's good. They've done very well to
highlight it,
do the study and release the report. But their job and mandate goes beyond just doing the study and releasing a report.
It should.
Yeah. So what is it that they're... So what are they doing about it? That's what I'd have loved to hear the acting CEO, or is it acting chairman, saying.
They said they have new strategy and they have different approaches.
Remember when he hosted him here and he said, one of the things is engaging, so we're looking for budget. So if they actually need more budgetary allocation or whatever, can they come up with a proper plan and say, this is what we are doing and we need to do to combat this crisis?
And they need to make this plan known.
Yeah. Clearly. And then they advocate, they meet with members of parliament, let them push for their budgetary allocation. This is why we have this national authority for the campaign against drug and alcohol abuse. This is it. It's not. It's a big thing, and it's just getting worse and worse.
It is scary.
It's getting even worse.
Yes.
Children.
All these drugs you hear of and you think are things that people consume in the West, we have it here.
Yeah. Anyway, keep it here for more conversations coming up in the next hour. Good morning to you. It's 7 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. President William Ruto says the launch of the Central Securities Depository though cements the government's plan to eliminate barriers to trade. Ruto says this is because it offers a rare window of opportunity to millions of ordinary Kenyans to participate and meaningfully contribute to the building of our country.
I have seen how we lock out many people sometimes by working with big numbers. And let me give you an example. Just in the city of Nairobi, we have 2.1 million people who have borrowed from the Hustler Fund. And in Nairobi alone, we have lent something like 5.7 billion to very small people in a record 8-9 months. So if anybody underestimated the people in the small economy, as you may want to call it, you have to think again. We need to open up space for those people who are borrowing to also buy government security.
The head of state further says that there's need for Hustler Fund beneficiaries to be allowed to buy government securities through the CSD app.
So if anybody underestimated the people in the small economy, as you may want to call it, you have to think again. And we have about 7 million people regular borrowing and paying in that space. We need to open up space for those people who are borrowing to also buy government paper, to buy government security.
A warning has been given to Kenyans that the rains that have started across the country may turn into an El Nino phenomena that will continue for the long period until December or January next year. My department director in Bungoma County, Noah Ereri, says that the forecast shows that these will be experienced in many parts of East Africa and thus the need for Kenyans to prepare.
Tarajia viwango vya mvua vipate kuimarika ukikompea na zile miaka ingine, na hii ni kutokana na El Nino. Tunatarajia El Nino kuwa na tukio hilo kwa kawaida huwa linaendelea, linapiki huko mwezi wa 10, 11 na huwa inaenda hadi Disemba, na saa ingine hata hiyo mvua inaweza ikaingia kidogo kwa mwezi wa Januari.
Reddy has especially warned drivers to be careful when driving during the rainy season.
Simu kama huu barabara zetu huwa ni telezi. Tunahimiza wale drivers punguze speed ya magari yao, kuepuka magari yao kufanya ile tunaita skidding. Maji iko mingi, imefurika pahali, labda kuna kivukio hapo, Ni vizuri madereva wasiende hapo, wasiingize magari hapo, huenda ikasombwa na mafuriko. Ni vizuri unatulia kwanza, mafuriko inaenda chini, alafu naendelea na safari yako.
In a related matter, Red Cross has called on the international donor funding community to provide resources that will assist in preparation towards the El Nino. Speaking in Mombasa, Secretary General Ahmed Idris said that so far no funds had been channeled towards the cause in the eventuality there will be a disaster.
Second to note, and sadly so, is that whenever we talk about early preparedness, globally speaking, there is very little resources put in place for early action. And our request and our appeal to donors, the donor community, is to avail as much resources as possible for early intervention, early action. That is what is going to make the difference in people's lives.
In Nairobi, Governor Johnson Sakaja says the county government will start demolishing buildings and stalls built on drainage systems. Speaking during the unveiling of a preparedness plan for the El Nino rains in Nairobi, Sakaja said they'll identify buildings that pose a flooding threat and evacuate residents from them. This even comes as 3,500 environmental officers have been employed to clean and unclog the drainages so as to avoid the adverse effects of the rains.
A few months ago, together with Waziri Isaac, when we had buildings collapsing in Kiambu County as well as Kasarani, we went together and we had a meeting with the Building Inspectorate and the departments under the Ministry of Lands, and we instructed the Building Inspectorate to conduct a survey of unsafe buildings in Nairobi. We have received the report, and one of the actions we'll take in some of those buildings that cannot be brought back to standard, the ones that are irreparably, structurally in default, we will have to move people. We have mapped out the hotspots for Nairobi County and the disaster hotspots, ambapo we know we'll have a challenge during El Nino. We're going to publish that in the newspapers and in the media for the people of Nairobi to know the areas that need to be avoided.
Popular Azimio blogger Pauline Njoroge says that the cases against her at the Malindi court are being dropped after the prosecution once again failed to charge and asked for more time to gather evidence. She further revealed that the gadgets taken from her for evidence purposes have also been released. Pauline, alongside two others, were arrested in Malindi in July during the Azimio-led anti-government protest. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseda, good morning.
Spice FM, Nakuru.
Traffic on the Thika Superhighway this morning. It's building up at that outer ring junction, coming all the way through towards Pangani at the underpass, and it's heavy. You use the service lanes until you get to the drift, and then you're going to have to go single line because there are no service lanes. All right, we're also looking at traffic on Kiambu Road. It's a bumper to bumper. Not quite sure how many lanes we have so far, but that's busy. Coming off the northern bypass, you'll see then some traffic coming out towards Kiambu Road as well. Limuru Road, not yet, but that will happen for sure. On Uhuru Highway, it's busy getting off the Nyeri Stadium roundabout. It's going to take you through to the CBD. But then it's slow on Mombasa Road as you approach that. The Eastern Bypass also looking pretty busy right about now. And we're seeing movement on North Airport Road coming in from Cabanas out towards the Eastern Bypass. You'll get to the Outer Ring Junction and there's some movement here as well. Mombasa Road looks pretty good all the way from Lolongo out to Syokimau and then into Mombasa Road. All right, we're getting into traffic hour not far from now. Let us know what's going on where you are and let's try to keep things moving this Tuesday. Let's talk on Spice FM, KE on X.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room The only way to
It's 7
start
minutes
your
after
day.
7. Good morning and welcome to the second hour of Kenya's biggest conversation. This is the Situation Room on this 12th day of September 2023. Live on Spice FM, KTN Home, online, on Facebook and on YouTube. Today, 12th. Next week, another week. And then come October. And then come the 29th of October. And then we run.
We'll
It's all
start
about
running.
Mm.
And then everybody's asking, why are you running?
Why are you running?
Well,
Where are you running to?
Murife, don't run.
we are running because it's good to run. Hey, it's the 20th edition of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon. It's happening on the 29th of October. We're taking off from Uhuru Gardens on Sunday morning, isn't it? And all these wonderful things have happened as a result of that. But what must you do to prepare? Get on to www.nairobimarathon.com, register with 2,000 shillings, start to train, and get going with the business. If you're going to participate in the virtual run, that doesn't mean that you run in your head. No. You actually run, CT, but you record your times on a leaderboard, and then people can see those timings. And then you compare with those folks who are going to participate in the physical run come the 29th. C'est ça? Now, it's the 20th edition of the Nairobi Standard Chartered Marathon. It's been happening for 20 years, so this is a special one. All proceeds from this run go towards the Future Makers program, which helps young people, especially girls and those with disability, to learn, earn, and grow. Let's do it.
That's a very good thing. It's a very good thing. You know, the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon has even become an international event and a tourist attraction. And let's talk about tourism now. We're joined by two gentlemen in the studio. One of them is Dr. Fred Kithitu. He is the chairman of the Kenya Association of Travel Agencies. Or agents. Is it agents or agencies, Dr. Kithitu?
Yeah, it's at Kenya Association of Travel Agents. And
Agents.
Dr. Joseph Kithitu, not Fred.
Oh, did I say Fred? I mixed. Dr. Joseph Kithitu and Fred Odek. Fred is the chairman of the Kenya Association of Tour Operators, and also the chairman, should start with the big one, chairman of the Kenya Tourism Federation, and chairman of the Kenya Association of Tour Operators. Good morning, Fred.
Morning, sir.
No, you're not the Joseph. You're the Fred.
I am the Fred.
The Joseph,
The Joseph is the doctor.
It's
It's the Dr. Joseph.
Yes.
Okay, great. Karibuni sana, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. To welcome you with a cup of tea, CT Muga is here. Wajua chai, everywhere you go, chai. And chai bila maziwa sio chai. It has a different name. And chai na maziwa kidogo sio chai. It also has a different name. Chai na maziwa proper ndio chai. Chai kweli.
Kenyan tea.
Kenyan tea. Chai kweli, the dairy best. You know, dairy best, long life milk. You can go and buy a whole box because it's long life. Keep it there. Just keep serving. And especially for tour operators, when you're out there in the field and you're beba maziwa yako hapa, you know, works well that way. City has the day's proverb. This week's proverb, City are from?
Sierra Leone.
Alrighty.
Do you know that the name Sierra Leone actually is derived from a Portuguese word? Yes. The Portuguese were among the first Europeans to actually visit that particular part of the world. Yes. It was famous for slaves. The things that brought them to that part of the world and many parts of West Africa was slavery. A very lucrative trade at that particular point in time. When a single hair has fallen from your head, you are not yet bald.
When a single hair has fallen from your head,
yes,
you are not yet bald.
Bado.
I don't want to start with Dr. Joseph Kithitu, so you may think I'm picking on him. So let me start with Fred. Fred, what do you make of this proverb?
I believe he's talking about life being a process.
Yes.
And the little you lose does not make you lose everything.
Oh, very well put.
And if I look at it in terms of why we are here, we're here to talk about an industry. And where you started from, you told us about milk, that is long life, that we can carry in our boxes and actually spend it little by little. And from the analogy he's giving us, is in life you lose a little. It doesn't mean that you've lost everything.
Good perspective. Dr. Kithitu?
Yeah, and he said that. I was like, do I have hair that has fallen? And I realized I was bald and didn't have it. But the context of this is that you still have hope. You still have an opportunity to do something as long as you have a last breath with you. You can shoot far. You can shoot at distance. It doesn't matter how far it is. But as long as you have something kicking within you, you can do something. You have not dropped it. So there's hope at the end of, people say another tunnel, but there is hope even immediate where you are. Yes.
You don't have to wait for the end of the tunnel.
No, tunnel is far.
Even wherever you are, in the middle of the tunnel, or the beginning of the tunnel, there's hope. That's a good way to look at it. Dr. Kithitu, what is KATA, the Kenya Association of Travel Agents?
Thank you. So I'm the chairman of KATA, but I want to define what KATA is all about.
Yes.
KATA stands for Kenya Association of Travel Agents. This is the umbrella body that works with all the travel providers in terms of bringing order and the structures into the way travel trade is done. So what this body does is basically, it's a self-regulated body. We are regulated by an act of parliament. So it's what we call self-regulation. But there are players within the travel trade. And travel, we're talking about people that issue tickets, that people that move others by air, by road, and more so, especially this side, we specialize on travel. And what we do is that we create rules and regulations as how travel is going to be done with codes of conduct and creating ethics and setting a pace in terms of standardization of travel. So it's a professional body. It's just not a marketplace. It's a professional body that has got, the training arm.
So the people who are members of these are the travel agents. What's a travel agent?
Yes. Now, a travel agent has moved far. It's a specialist in travel. A travel agent is somebody who leads you, who is an arranger, who is a planner on your travel journey, who basically advises you, is a safety net for you if you want to move. And all of us keep moving. But a travel agent, by definition of an agent, you are a middleman. So an agent is offering a solution that is being managed by somebody else. In this case, an agent will be doing a flight ticket, and this flight is being managed by an operator like Kenya Airways. So the travel agent here, or the consultant or the consulate, will be able to guiding you that process of moving from Kenya to the airport, to get to a plane and land to Dubai. And what you do in Dubai. So is that person who comes in to make your life easy.
So walks and flies and drives the journey with you all the way from the beginning to the end. Sawa. How about the Kenya Tourism Federation, Bonodek? What is the Kenya Tourism Federation?
Thank you, Eric. You've heard of KATA, which is just explained to you.
Yes.
Then we have KATO.
Yes.
Then we have the hotel keepers.
Yes.
Then we have driver guides. Then you have the airlines. All those are BMOs that work within the travel industry. Now, the federation is the umbrella body that actually brings them all together. And the reason for that is that when you want to talk to government, you cannot bring KATA, bring KATO, bring driver guides, bring
hotel keepers,
bring airlines. You let them share all their issues, put them together, and then tell government, as an industry, these are our issues. It becomes easy for you to lobby and to drive policy with government. And that is the main role of KTF.
Of the federation.
Of the federation.
So it brings in together the various
it
other
is the umbrella body that
associations.
Houses all the associations in tourism to enable them to actually talk to government in one unison voice.
Okay.
Number two, if you look at the way the Kenyan business is structured, we have KEPSA, which is the national body for private sector.
Yeah.
And that has a wing that talks to government. And it has got what is called the national, the governing council in KEPSA. Now the tourism sector has to feed into that sector through the KEPSA. KEPSA through the KTF, which is the umbrella body. So you cannot have the smaller BMOs sitting on the same governing council. So that's where KTF sits in the governing council
to
talk to government.
So Kata and Kato are members of KTF.
Correct.
What is Kato?
Now, Kato is for tour operators. He told you about travel agents.
Yeah.
Now, travel agents basically do mostly outbound. All right? Now, tour operators are the guys who bring you tourists inside the country. And they run the operation. They're just agents like the other ones. But now theirs is mainly to bring tourists in the country, do the program for them, ensure that they have vehicles, hotels, restaurants, all that put in one package, which somebody can buy and then enjoy in the country. So those are tour operators.
Clear.
So you have got two sectors. You have got travel agents that sends people out, mostly to do outbound packages, flights, your holiday in Dubai, Seychelles, wherever, is done by travel agents. Tour operators mainly will bring you tourists in the country to consume what the country has to offer. Our wildlife, our beaches, our museums, all that you have, our clubs, our golf courses, we sell that through tour operators. All right? Now, those two sometimes intermingle. You'll find one company doing the both. They do outbound, inbound.
Yeah.
Okay? But they have got two licenses. They've got a license for travel agent and they have a license for
tour operator.
Because you must have a license for those different two categories of work that you do. Right?
Okay. So oftentimes you can form a tag team whereby there are things that are going on in the country with the tour operators will handle, and then we'll now be able to pass off, essentially possibly the same group of people to a tour agent who will then, send them off on their way or bring them into the country.
Correct.
So you can work in tandem with one another.
Correct.
Right? Yes. Okay. So now if we look at what's currently going on in the country, if we want to use Nairobi National Park as an example, who would be involved in this scenario? Before we even go to the nitty-gritty of exactly what's going on, who would be involved in this scenario when then it meant that folks who want to access the national park then get a day or two of the scenery? Who would be directly involved in those operations?
By and large, tour operators are most involved because they have got guests in the country that they want to show the country. So they enter the parks. You already collected money from the guests, you pay the parks, and you show them. If you look at the way the city is built, these are business cities. So there's a big group of people who also basically access the park directly.
Yep.
So they don't need an operator to do anything for them.
Yes.
They basically pick their own car, drive to the gate, pay, and enter.
Okay.
That's one group. Group two is what we call organized travel. And organized travel is whereby a tour operator has got his clients to send to the park. You collect money from them, then you pay the park, then you show them. A travel agent may have the same thing. He may be having his own guests who came in to do business. They've requested they want to be sent to the park. All he needs to do is talk to his partner in tour, give him a vehicle to run the same. So travel agents, tour operators, and the common citizens in the country have got a very big interest in what happens in our parks. Right? And the governing of the parks is done by KWS, which means what is their role? Two roles. One is manage the park, which means control what happens within that park. Yeah. And two, levy the fees that we need to pay and collect it. Okay? On behalf of the government.
Right.
So once you tell us how to pay and we pay you and how much it's supposed to be paid, we are supposed to now enjoy the services of that park. That's all.
Okay.
It's a very simple and seamless process, and it's been happening for ages.
Yes.
So that is where our interaction with the parks ends.
Okay.
All right?
Right.
Good.
Now, of recent, we've seen what many people say is chaos, calling it a crisis, whereby specifically for the Nairobi National Park and how to access it on Langata Road, there have been queues, there's been traffic, there are cars lined up as people are trying to get in to access the park. What on earth is going on?
Thank you. So basically what is going on is it's a change process. And the government, like any other institution, through the KWS, which is still one of the arm of the government, went to a new process of getting park entry processing payment through a new system, which they're calling it. You have to do it through the e-citizen process. Basically, all the government services are being centralized. It's a good move, so to say. But what is happening is that it's a new system that is being introduced, teething problems at the peak and at the peak of the business.
what do you get? Crisis. So basically, it's a change at the peak of the business, and there's no time to learn. As we can find vehicles on the road, they are waiting, they are doing everything. Nobody understands, neither the operators, neither the owners of the system. We normally say it's a confused market. Yes.
What is this new system?
What's the problem? Yeah.
Okay, so basically, and Fred will also allude to it more. What the new system entails is that previously, what you would have had to do, you want to go to a park, you had an option. You could even walk to the gate and be told it's a Kenya shilling or $1 payment. How much is it? I pay by a card, by M-Pesa. Most likely, they were not taking cash. You would pay by M-Pesa, by card. And you get a receipt, walk into the park and drive and do your things. So with the change of the system, basically, the government says transactions to be done through eCitizen. Okay? So what that does mean, all of us do have eCitizens for passports, for other things, driving license and all that. It means that you have to go in, log there, process your park fee tickets through there. You get an e-slip, kind of as a paper. You make a payment through M-Pesa, you can make through there. The challenge we're having is around fintech. Fintech is around the dollar kind of it. You need to pay park fees by dollar. M-Pesa doesn't have dollar. That's where now the rubber meets the road. Let's start from there.
Everyone is paying. Every payment being made by locals as well as visitors is pegged to the dollar or is by the dollar.
No. Locals pay by shilling, but there are some park fees that you need to pay by dollar, especially the foreign.
If you're a non-resident.
Yeah, the non-resident. We want to move the word foreigners. They're not foreigners, non-residents. And that one challenge on its own. Leave about the rest. It's a new system. You have to have eCitizen. Maybe you don't have a smartphone. It's not a must. There's no law. You must have a smartphone. You go there, you will not do anything. So assume you have a smartphone. Let's just take a normal person. You have a smartphone, you can access internet and everything. But where's your money? Where are your dollars?
My dollar is in my card, in my account.
Or in the bank.
And now here, this system requires you to make a payment. How do you pay that?
Okay,
so that's
one
of the challenges you do face. But there are more than that, especially around the paperwork.
Okay, can we do this? So, usually, what used to happen, and I know this because at some point, being a non-resident, going to the park, you would then be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? Convert with the rate of the day to Kenya shillings and then pay in cash, right? And then you would pay, as a non-resident, you would pay. Now, what we're saying is that all of these payments will only be digital, obviously, because of the eCitizen. And then the payment mode on eCitizen, there's no card option. The only payment mode is M-Pesa, the little tab for M-Pesa. There's no card option whereby a non-resident could put in their card details, for example. That does not exist?
It does exist.
Okay.
Let me back up a bit what the problem is. If you look at the old model of payment that was being done at KWS, and the new system that have been brought, only two problems arrived. One, it was a rushed implementation. There was no time to educate whether there's an operator, whether there's an individual. No one told them what to do. So they ended up in that crisis. The people at KWS themselves did not know what to do. And number three, we had a problem whereby there was no backup system. If you are having a new system, our understanding as an industry is that you run them parallel. You run the old system and the new system over a period of time, maybe 30 days, and say, we are on trial mode. We are going to move from this system to this system. What happened to the industry was somebody gave an instruction and they said from Monday, I want you to be an eCitizen.
And it's Friday afternoon.
Correct. So they shut it down and they say, go to eCitizen. We have no problem. If there was enough people to train people to do what to do, we're not here to challenge government. We are business people. Our job is very simple. Provide us means how to trade with you, we'll trade with you. That's simple. We are business people, we want to make profits. The shenanigans are not our thing. Now, that did not happen. Now, we went into a weekend. This is where the whole problem became a nightmare. We went into a weekend. The weekend means that the support structures are actually minimized. And then the system crashed.
Crashed?
Yes. The system was actually down. e-citizen.
So the e-citizen platform
Correct.
was down.
It was down.
On this particular weekend.
And it is down at 6 a.m.
Right.
And it's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday. What happens in the wildlife viewing, there are a window that you need to go and view the wildlife. Morning time is the prime time for viewing wildlife. So you run into that time and you only have 2 hours or 3 hours to do that. And then you're out.
Yeah.
And so you have got driver guides who have collected money from clients who are waiting at the gates to enter. No one could assist them.
Why are they waiting at the gate?
Because
Fred?
they can't pay.
And if you can't pay, you can't enter.
They can't make payments.
So they collected money from their clients. Did they attempt to log on to e-citizen?
It's down.
Okay.
They're trying to log into
And
it.
so now they are coming, trying to...
So they ran to the gates. So they say, we have got these clients, we want to enter, but the citizen thing you're talking about is down. So what do we do? And the guy says, so, I'm sorry, we can't take
it's
money
only
because
citizen.
the instruction says you pay there.
And since you can't pay, you can't enter.
And because you can't pay, you can't enter. So that is disruption. Now, as an industry, these are what we're looking for. It's an assumption that is made that payment of park fees should be done by individuals. This e-citizen thing, because everybody has their e-citizen number.
Assumption.
It's an assumption, which is wrong. Tourism industry, when by definition, when we came in here, you are given kata and you are given kato. Those BMOs do not work with individuals. Those are corporates. And so the payment of park fees in our country, by and large, the big chunk of money being paid is being paid by corporates.
Right.
Corporates require accountability. They want to move money from one bank account to the next bank account. If I've got 200 clients going to Amboseli in the morning and they're going to be there for 3 nights, I'm paying $60 times 3 times 200 people. It's not money I'm putting on my mobile phone. It's money I want to move from one bank account to the next bank account.
Okay. And
So-
by virtue of the fact that you spoke of operating people who've come into the country, the likelihood of these individuals paying one to the park separately is very low.
It's very low.
They're going to do a corporate payment.
Correct.
Okay.
So what we've requested, and this is what we did as an industry, we had these challenges. We did not go to the streets to demonstrate. We did not call for a press conference. We called KWS directly and called for a quick meeting. So we met KWS, we met e-citizen officials in one room. We gave them a matrix of what is not working quickly. And we told them we'd like you to basically make this thing work so that the businesses are not interfered with. Despite the fact that you brought it at the wrong time, we'll help to work with you to ensure that we can be able to actually streamline it. We gave them a raft of issues that we want done in a matrix. Key to them is we want them to have a corporate account on e-citizen that allows businesses to pay money directly from bank to bank. Provide an e-wallet that allows you that once you put your money in that, you can spend it in every park that you go, like they used to do before. It allows us accountability, paper trail, and movement of money, and avoid this thing of money laundering. This thing of you start of everybody carrying money in their pockets, small money, that's money laundering. Let's trade as businesses. Tomorrow I'm supposed to do my taxes. My taxes must show my money came from point A to point B, and for what reason? I paid money from my account to KWS. To run
not
a certain
from your
file.
account to driver to...
Not my account to driver. There's no business the driver has to carry money from my company. They need to carry money from my account to KWS account. Whether that account belongs to e-citizen, whatever, it has to show that I'm paying KWS. Once I pay KWS, I'm attaching that payment to a particular file. Tomorrow, KRA will come and ask me, this money you collected, $200,000 from the US, what is it for? I must show them where the money went. How do I account for KRA money that went to KWS through some driver who was carrying money in his M-Pesa? What if he does not pay? And he compromises somebody at KWS and uses the money differently? How do I prove it? So that's our one first request. Please provide a corporate account under the e-citizen. 2, link the banks, because even the banks were caught unaware. Most of the banks didn't know what to do. Even if you pay the money to the bank, they can't effect it to the e-citizen. So people are paying money to the bank and the money is hanging. Link the bank to the e-citizen to KWS so that if I pay, it reflects immediately and shows that I've paid money for KWS for park fee. so that it is easier for me to actually utilize that money in the park without asking the next person a question. If you do that, it means that you've moved the 90% of the big payers of park fee into the proper system that allows them to actually account for their money. Now, our second request, while we are doing what we are doing, let's do it as a partnership, whereby if we have got challenges, we are able to explain ourselves to you, and then you effect changes with us. The third challenge you're having now, after making all this raft of requests, the instructions given to government agencies to go to e-citizen is not in tandem with what happens back at the Treasury. Anything they want to do has to go back to Treasury for approval. They're not in a hurry.
Who's not in a hurry?
Treasury is not in a hurry. It's 2 weeks since we made this raft of changes that we want to be done, and we're just telling you how to actually make sure that you can get our money quickly. And we are stuck. Because Treasury has not made the approval for them to put, the e-wallet. They've not made approval for them to do the corporate account. Now, ask yourself this question. You're saying you want to collect more money. All right? How do you collect more money if the biggest payers cannot pay you?
Let's take a break. We need to breathe. 26 minutes to 8. Hey. So we've seen on social media the issues and the delays at the national parks with visitors and guests arriving at the gates of the national park, and they've told, okay, you've got to pay and to enter here, and you've got to use e-citizen, and there have been all these what we call teething problems. It's one of the things that we keep calling in this country teething problems, when there's some mere incompetence in very many cases. Well, we're discussing that this morning with industry stakeholders. Fred Odek is the chairman of the Kenya Association of Tour Operators and also the chairman of the umbrella Kenya Tourism Federation. Dr. Joseph Kithitu is the chairman of the Kenya Association of Travel Agents. Back shortly. Keep it here. Don't go away.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people. And we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing politics of conmanship. And even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. Na hii mambo utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Nairobi still 14 degrees, highs of 26 today. We'll see highs of 25 in a partly sunny Nakuru at 15, and it's sunny at 16 in Nyeri, highs of 25, and we'll see lows of 15. 13 will be the low in a cloudy Eldoret, going to highs of 23. It's sunny at 23 in Mombasa, highs of 30, and we'll see highs of 30 as well in a sunny Malindi at 24. It's cloudy at 20 in Kisumu, highs of 28 and highs of 27 in a mostly cloudy Kakamega at 18. It's 18 and partly sunny in Kampala, highs of 27, and we'll see highs of 29 in a mostly sunny Dar es Salaam at 24. Looking into a sunny Johannesburg, it's 4 degrees, highs of 18, and it's partly cloudy at 25 in Lagos, going to highs of 29. 34 will be the high in a clear Kinshasa at 21. Coming down to lows of 20.
Spice up your life.
All right, into the CBDs where a lot of the movement is happening this morning. Coming off the Thika Superhighway, heavy at that outer ring junction. And then we're going to go bumper to bumper all the way through towards the Pangani underpass. The service lanes look like they're not moving too well because even the service lanes, there's traffic this morning. Kiambu Road is also pretty busy. We're looking at traffic coming in from DCI HQ. And let's look over to Limuru Road where it's busy coming in from Ruaka and Kitisuru in from the village market out towards the city. coming out of Westlands. There's also some movement and in from Uhuru Highway. So through and through from the Nairobi Stadium roundabout all the way through to CBD out towards Westlands. That's where the busiest of it is happening this morning. Not too bad on Jogo Road, but it's going to go dot dot until you get to Landys, and it's heavy through to the Kamkunji roundabout. So traffic starting to build up. We're getting into traffic hour proper now. Let's see how this opens up as we get into Tuesday. Spice FM KE on X as we keep things moving.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The Situation Room on Spice FM on KTN Home, online on YouTube and Facebook. Dr. Joseph Kithitu, the chairman of the Kenya Association of Travel Agents, Fred Odek, the chairman of the Kenya Tourism Federation, are our guests this morning. We're talking about the new delays and problems we're facing implementation of the e-citizen directive. So the president, a couple of weeks ago, comes in and says, all right, so we are trying to push all our services on the e-citizen platform. So it makes it easier and more efficient for citizens to get government services. And then he says, let's also harmonize the payment. So we also all pay through one account, one pay bill number, and it all harmonizes government revenues. So all goes there. And he says, can we roll this out? And the directive is given. Now the implementing agencies, all those different government departments have got to take that, look at how they deal with their people, and work out a modality of making sure that all their stakeholders, number one, understand the new directive, and number two, that the system is seamless. Now, what I'm hearing from you two gentlemen is that, number one, there was no conversation between this agency called the Kenya Wildlife Service and its main stakeholders, who are, for example, the tour operators.
Correct.
And the system is then implemented. The system, those who are manning the system at KWS gates don't have sufficient power or authority to say what happens if a system collapses. Those with sufficient authority are not fast enough to respond and react to what's happening. And that's a frustration that I hear, Dr. Kithitu, isn't it?
Perfect, true. That's the problem. Require somebody just to think forward and fix the problem. You know, look, it's at the peak of the business in terms of tourism. So such a time you can lose what you think you're going to you wanted to make more, you might lose and create a frustration. So what we are seeing in this situation, we expect, where we see that the travel trade, we expect things to move. Not to be haggled around not moving. Because we have clients who have paid us the money, and look, the clients want service, pure, period. So you cannot start saying this is not working, it will not work. So what we have pushed through, there have been a lot of consultative meetings to discuss this matter. We all hope where we sit as operators that this will be fixed at the earliest time possible, today. That's our intention, because we have guests going to the park today, tomorrow. Absolutely. So really, these are real-time situation problem.
2 weeks have passed since this meeting happened between the operators, the umbrella body, between KWS, and still we see that nothing can happen. And for me, what I'm trying to understand here is that, sure, a directive was given that this needs to happen. But what would have been so wrong, and maybe you're not even the ones to answer this, but what would have been so wrong to say, all right, we can do it, but we need a couple of days to be able to implement it, as opposed to throwing thousands of people into this chaos where nothing till today, as we speak, 12th of September, is still not working. And what are we saying?
Even further than that, Ndu, understanding that this meeting that we are calling with the stakeholders, there's also an extra stakeholder, the National Treasury.
Exactly.
Have the National Treasury at the meeting.
The challenge we have is that when you're dealing with government agencies, you may not see all of them in one mirror. The issue is that operators need to enter the park, and the park owner is KWS. So you are channeling your energy to KWS.
Yes.
Then they tell you, no, we are not the problem. It's e-citizen. Then you call e-citizen, and they tell you, we can do that, but
Treasury
has to make some approvals. So you've got a layer of agencies in the line that don't see the agency of what you're trying to do as a business person. And then we have another challenge, which I'm seeing now cropping up. Before we can even iron out what is affecting us, there is a bit of somebody saying, oh, you guys are basically not fighting the system. You don't want to comply.
This is corruption fighting back.
Correct. You don't want to comply because you want to safeguard the old system, which is not the truth. What we are saying as business people under the tourism and all the BMOs that we serve is that give us an efficient system.
Sure.
We have told you how it works and how the businesses are working. Like right now, let me give you an example. If you actually do the corporate account and allow the payment for bulk dollar payments, okay, you've actually ironed up the main problem. Now, ask yourself a question. All these parks in Kenya, who is the biggest consumer? Is it the local person or the foreigner? It's the foreigner.
It's the foreigner, yes.
Correct? Now, you can't charge somebody 4 times the money you charge the local person and still frustrate him. They actually work on a time schedule, because if you fly from, let's say you fly from the US to Kenya, you are here for 10 days. Your 10 days count from the day you arrive. If you are supposed to be
scheduled.
Yes, if you're supposed to be in the national park in the morning, you must be there, and if you miss it, you've missed it. If you're going to Amboseli the next morning, you need to enter Amboseli by 12 midday. If you miss it, you've missed it. Anybody keeping you away from that process is basically wasting your time and money and ruining the experience. Now, we as the operator, this is what we are saying. We know what the client needs. We are partners with KWS. We've been working with them all this time. Just provide an enabling environment, and we've given you exactly what we need. Get those approvals done quickly, then even the environment. Because the peak season people are talking about is July to mid-October. We only have a month to go.
And it's gone.
It's gone. This so-called peak season has got only 1 month to go. By the time we go to mid-October, there's no high season. Imeisha. It's gone. So what we're going to have from that point going forward is a normal trickle season. Now, the government is looking for employment. The government is looking for revenues. The government is struggling with the dollar exchange rate. I'm bringing that money on your doorstep, but you're playing around with it. I'm giving you that money on your doorstep. What I'm saying, provide a platform to collect it. I'm here to work with you. Let's remove this thing of, I don't know, corruption is fighting back on everything else. Let's just make it work.
Let me ask you, Frank.
We accept the system, make it work, and we'll support you. 100%.
There's a mantra called the whole government approach.
Yes.
In how things are done in this country. No, it's one government.
Correct.
When it's one ministry, it's one government. Don't look at it in terms of ministries and silos.
Correct.
So you're under the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife.
Yes.
KWS is also under the same ministry.
Correct.
E-Citizen is under the ICT ministry.
Correct.
The National Treasury is the National Treasury.
Correct.
Those are just 3 ministries.
Correct. Yes.
Have you reached out to your parent ministry and told them, can you, one government, deal with one government and sort us out?
Under KTF, this is how we work. We first of all talk to the parent ministry and tell the ministry, these are the challenges we're having. And because we are business people, we don't waste time waiting for you to sort out yourself. We'll go ahead and talk to KWS. We'll go ahead and talk to E-Citizen very quickly. And if need be, talk to Treasury quickly. And present the formula that is required to resolve the problem. As a business, we don't look at ministries. We look at where the shoe is pinching and we fix it. When we had an issue here of the visa, we did not wait for Ministry of Tourism to come and sort visa. We went to the immigration officers, spoke to them and explained to them where the visa is a problem. And we got a reprieve on how to make that work.
The e-visas.
When I had the COVID problem in the country, I did not sit back and wait for the Ministry of Tourism to help me with COVID issues. I went to the Ministry of Health and sat with them, explained to them how my industry works, and I even actually got vaccine from the government and distributed. And we managed to open tourism. They can tell you the same. Now, we do not wait for a ministry We look at government as a whole. That's why we have an umbrella body. So we work with the government as a whole to ensure that whatever problem we are having, we get a solution. Because as business, the more you wait, you lose.
Can I ask you?
Yes.
So this came out 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Are we saying that in 2 weeks that there's only then been a trickling of people into the national parks? Because this is not a Nairobi issue only. This is a countrywide issue. If every park where there will be access granted, you must pay via e-citizen, isn't it?
This is what people have done. And business people are very creative people. Because they don't want to lose money. Because if you don't provide the service, you have to return the money to the client.
Right.
You have to refund the money. So basically right now, why we are fighting and telling government that we need the corporate accounts open, our members, which are the big players, are actually trading through drivers. They are putting money in every driver's phone to pay
on e-citizen.
They've looked for every way to ensure that this thing works so that they do not refund money to clients. Because again, there are contracts signed here.
Yeah.
If you breach that contract, the cost for that breach is more than these little things that you're going to go through, calling teething problem in the country. So, despite all these challenges, we are managing to get guests into these parks. But even the guests can see you're struggling. Because every time you need to get somewhere, the driver has to do something, people are spending so much time making payments.
On admin stuff.
Making payments, which if you do what I'm asking for, it is a one payment in the system. I basically log into my bank account and I pay you
an amount,
$40,000, and I operate for the whole week. And that money is with government already.
Is the e-citizen operational?
It is operational.
No, it's operational.
It is operational.
It's a challenge of getting into it.
is-
I'm actually trying to log into it. I'm on e-citizen.
The
Then I
challenge-
scroll down all the services to KWS. Then
The challenge you're having is that it is one thing that we are really advocating for. E-citizen is meant for individual transactions.
Oh, not corporate.
Not corporate. We want them to make e-citizen because it is the approved system by government for payments. We as tour operators and travel agents and hoteliers and even the airlines that are in the business of bringing you tourists, we want them to actually provide the corporate angle into e-citizen.
Would it have helped if indeed before this particular scheme was implemented, if your organization and all those who are in the tourism industry were asked to give their opinion? Do you think this thing might have worked better?
You'd have sorted it in a day. Because we'd have just told them exactly what we need. And then what they did is restructure the system into that manner. What you need is the system. This is what we need. Please plug this in, and then it works. It's very simple. There is nothing magical into it. The challenge we had is even after telling them what we wanted, and they tweaked it a bit, we realized that the banks are not ready. Because you do a transfer to the bank cannot effect it into the system. It's manual. So somebody has already made a payment, and then now they're calling, I paid e-citizen, but it's not affected. The bank is not affecting it. And then you're being told, oh, wait, that part of it is still manual. Somebody has to go and do something. So if we had a conversation before, we would have seen all these challenges and ironed them. But now, where we are is, e-citizen is working. It is too much of a process to deal with, and it does not bring accountability to corporates. Now, what we are requesting is a very simple thing. Please open the corporate account on e-citizen so that tour operators and travel agents and air operators and hoteliers who are running safaris in the country can pay money company to company. We are paying from company A to KWS, company B to KWS, so that we can account for the money. Please don't forget, in the middle of all this, there is a tax issue on the money that you hold in your hand as a business. And tomorrow, convincing the taxman that you gave money to a driver, I don't know, go and do what with it, will not fly. And if you're talking about $100,000, you will not be believed that you gave $100,000 to a driver.
Are you crazy?
To go and I don't know, pay who. And the paperwork is not clear. It is so simple.
And you can't even merge their own M-Pesa statements into
Correct.
your corporate M-Pesa
the
statement.
The easiest thing to do is open the corporate account so that I move money from my account to KWS and I get one receipt, which I file.
Is there, from what you see, because it sounds, I mean, we're sitting in this room and it sounds like it's very basic. It seems like a no-brainer in terms of what ought to be done. But then the question is, then why isn't it being done? Because if we're saying that it has stopped at Treasury now, what's Treasury doing? Treasury has too many other things to do. Treasury is saying, okay, we need to look at this in another manner. Treasury is saying, okay, we'll come to it. Where are we? Because if it continues to be a headache and we have all of these issues piling up one to the other, it continues to be frustrating. So it would be very interesting to hear where they're saying they are, because that seems to be where everything is stuck.
Yeah, maybe I can clarify this. It's all not in the dark. Things are working. It's it's the accountability process that is really a mess. The first days when the system was down, that was quite a big issue. What the operators now are fighting for is moving the system to a robust system, accountability, and making it seamless process. These things will come into place. A good example in this kind of system implementation is Kenya Revenue Authority. They are very good in how they implement their systems. Very good. They take time, and they even walk the client. Many times we never think KRA will be that friendly, but it's a place to borrow from, especially on how they roll new systems. They even put a window period, and you try it doesn't work, you have an option B and all that. So what we are seeing here with eCitizen, at the moment, guests are not stranded 100% in terms of not entering the park. The system that is being used to go through the park is not accountable, is not friendly to a corporate setup. That's what the operators are saying. These issues have been put into place. We are confident 100% they will be aligned. The fintech side is not up to speed where you pay. You have made a payment. Exactly. When you do a KRA payment, you get an e-slip number. That e-slip number, you pay on it, it reflects on your KRA, it clears the pending bill, and you are good to go. This time, you pay to the bank, and the amount has not gone to the eCitizen. It's still waiting somewhere. Those are the few things, the fintech connectivity solutions to be fixed. So we have this problem because first, the peak period. We know the peak period, we are going to have a period that has been full of problems. But I think we will not reverse the process. I don't see the process being reversed. It's more perfected. It has taken time. It has caused pain. It has caused accountability issues. But by and large, I think it's a lesson that has been learned and being learned in a painful way.
Dr. Kithito, are you sure the lesson has been learned?
And by whom?
First of all, there is pain. Who has felt the pain? The pain has been felt by the operators. From the other side, this bureaucracy, there is knowledge, there is a lot of harms that are involved into it. Really, whether they have had the pain or not, it's not here nor there. We have no measuring tools to this. But we believe they have had. There's a lot of engagement to it to believe that they will improve the system. It's just to put a simple thing, corporate account.
Actually, there is a measuring tool. You see, you work in an industry where you measure success by several indicators.
Sure.
The number of repeat guests, the numbers of paying guests, increased number of people who visit your parks, your museum. You can measure. It's not difficult. If you're talking about the hospitality industry and hotels, the increased bed capacity, conferencing capacities, you can measure it. Now, if you have a system that interferes with this, you can also measure and see the harm is being done here and here and here and here. And this is what it means. Because in your industry, reputation is everything.
Yes.
If that is dented, the visitors don't care whether eCitizen was. That's not their problem. They didn't come all the way from their country to come and learn about what eCitizen is. And if it doesn't work, they'll tell you they're going to Tanzania or they're going to Rwanda or they're doing whatever. What I'm asking is, do you people you have the organization, do you have a lobby group? A group that foresees problems of this nature, and before something of this sort happens, they are busy talking to people in government to forestall what could actually happen?
Yes, we do. The reason why actually we have the BMOs is for them to lobby government at all times. The challenge we have on the current administration is that you don't have the window to lobby.
What do you mean?
Because if somebody made a statement this week, you don't know where that statement is going. A statement is made in a gathering that was being done somewhere out of town. And the president says, from what we are doing, we are going to have all the payments done in one system. In your hindsight, as a business person, you're thinking, okay, are we talking about KRA? What are we talking about? You don't know who they're talking about. For the longest time, parastatals have always remained autonomous in terms of how they collect their money, how they run their systems, how they report. You haven't seen any change happening in the legislature that says now all these bodies are no longer on their own. All right? So even if you want to lobby, what are you challenging? And then you wake up the next day, you see an email saying all payments for so and so have been now moved from this to this. So you are basically on the back foot.
Mr. Deck, you know where the lobbying comes in?
Yes.
It's not to challenge, but it's to query the very thing you say. A statement is made. You ask, Chief.
Wait, what does this mean?
Where is this going?
Now,
what plan do you guys have?
This time round,
yes,
we've normally asked a lot of things. When everything is being done, the legislature, something is coming up, a bill is coming up,
yes,
you know what to expect.
Yes.
And you sit with parliamentarians and you look at the clauses they're doing, and you ensure that they don't do anything without you being in the room. Now, we do that perfectly. As I'm talking right now, the changes that are being done in the country right now, they are like, now by the time by the time you are actually talking to someone on what has happened,
it has already happened.
You are 2 steps behind. So now, what as an industry, what we are doing, instead of going to have a lobby, and we are now lobbying in terms of, okay, you've done that, let's help you do it in a better way.
Perfect. Yeah.
Can we help you do this in a better way? And that's why we quickly met with KWS, met with eCitizen, and told them, we appreciate you in the room, but the things we are doing needs us to let you know how we operate.
It is basic implementation of a project.
Correct.
Stakeholder engagement. It starts there.
Yes.
Government, please. Come on. I mean, government is not new. Government has been there. It's
Correct.
Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Fred Odek is the chairman of the Kenya Tourism Federation and the Kenya Association of Tour Operators, and Dr. Joseph Kithitu is the chairman of the Kenya Association of Travel Agents. Keep it here for more conversations in the next hour. Good morning, 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newsweb Dennis Aseto. The National Dialogue Committee now says it has received 155 MOUs from various groups that have expressed interest in participating in the bipartisan talks. Speaking at the Bomas of Kenya's MU and Kenya Council delegation team members, Kalonzo Musyoka and Embu Governor Cecily Mbarire said the technical committee will review the submissions and present a report by Monday next week.
The total number of memoranda that were received was as follows. Hand delivered to Parliament buildings, 29. Hand delivered at Bomas of Kenya, 5. Via email, 121. None via the post. So a total of 155 submissions that we have received. We have given the technical teams an opportunity to go through this memoranda within the week, and we will be coming back here on Monday to receive the reports of the various memoranda and then be able to make a decision on the way forward.
We're even asking the members of the committee take it upon themselves to cut down on any possible travel because time is restricted.
The National Dialogue Committee was put in place to handle issues and concerns that have been raised by both the Azimio and the national government. Now, warring Kericho Governor Eric Mutai and his deputy Fred Kirui have buried their differences ahead of President William Ruto's visit to the county for Mashujaa Day celebrations. The two, after a meeting, regretted the time wasted since the last general election and vowed never to engage in a war of words that had nearly brought the county activities to a halt. Friday last week, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua told the governor and his deputy to forget their differences or risk being voted out. Now, Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has assured Kerio Valley leaders that the government will commence constructing roads as one of the ways to restore peace in the region. Murkomen said the government plans to deal with conflict as soon as possible so as to boost the region's economy.
And therefore, we have given ourselves 2 weeks to piece together the programs and projects we think that the government must undertake in that region so that we can sort out the issues of Kerio Valley once and for all. In our discussion, we have established that the biggest hindrance insofar as security operations in the region is lack of infrastructure.
We will support each other. Here today, we've been together with our governors, our MPs, our county MPs, our senators, and soon we are going to involve our area MCAs.
Matatu Owners Association now says that installation of cameras won't resolve the rising cases of road accidents. Speaking in Meru town, the chairperson, Albert Karagacha, said putting up their own driving schools for their drivers will be a better solution to deal with accidents.
Tunaomba serikali, sio kamera itaweza kutoa ajali barabarani. Tunasema kuwa tuende kwa ile cause of the problem. Cause ya problem ni mambo ya dereva. Tuweze kuelimisha dereva wetu na hao ndio wataweza kufanya mambo ya ajali iweze kupunguka barabarani. Watu wetu mahali pote tumeenda wanasema punda imechoka, na hatutaki tuwekeo vitu za watu kutengeneza pesa, na tunaweza tukakaa na serikali tuone kiini ya shida, na tuko na development partners wale wangependa tuweke hizo mashule, na hizo ndio zitasaidia mambo ya ajali.
Alcohol is the most abused drug in Kenya, and a Canada survey states that 1 in every 8 Kenyans aged 15 to 65 years are currently using alcohol. Of these, the majority are in the western region, where the highest prevalence of alcohol use is at 23.8%, followed by the coast region at 13.9% and central Kenya at 12.8%. The survey further shows that Nairobi has the highest prevalence of manufactured legal alcohol at 10.3%, followed by central at 10% and eastern at 8.4%. For the field, and at least 150 people were killed in freak floods in eastern Libya as a result of Storm Daniel, which has swept the Mediterranean. Images filmed by residents of the disaster area show massive mudslides, collapsed buildings and entire neighborhoods submerged under the water. These, as back home, Kenyans are being asked to prepare for the El Nino that is coming. These, as various government departments have moved to action to make sure that when the floods carry, when El Nino gets here, that things are moving. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
The man who looks at a beautiful girl and doesn't talk to her will end up serving lunch at her wedding.
Aya, City, do like that.
My father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man?
Ameua panya.
Small mammal, big mammal.
Mtu atamshinda.
I mean, I don't know. What are they saying? How are we comparison? I mean, you kill a mouse.
What are they saying?
Yeah, man. I met somebody called I Believe. So
See?
Your name is I Believe? Yes, my name is I Believe. But that's the short form. I said, excuse me? I said, yes. My name is I Believe. So what's the full name? I believe in the goodness of
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
.5 Spice FM. Kisumu.
Okay, round about 8 o'clock, and we're looking at traffic. Different parts of the city. It's building on the Thika Superhighway, and more than it was about 30 minutes ago. And so we're going to look at a bumper-to-bumper situation all the way from coming in from Ruaraka out towards Survey. So that's built. And we're also looking at traffic coming out of Westlands. Uhuru Highway, still very busy. As you approach the Southfield Mall, coming in from Cabanas, heading out towards North Airport Road, that's busy as well. And we're now seeing some movement on Langata Road, and some of it will go through towards Raila Odinga Way and then out towards Uhuru Highway. That's where the most of it is happening. Apart from Landis Road, what a mess, what a shock. It's busy. It's bumper to bumper all the way towards the Kamkunji roundabout. And we're also seeing some traffic coming in on Gong Road. We're in traffic hour proper, folks. Let's see what happens this Tuesday morning. Let's talk on Spice FM KE on X.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down.
It's 8
this
minutes
is the
after
Situation
8.
Room.
Very good morning.
The only
to
way to
Welcome
start
the
your
start
day.
Of the Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. Those of us who are following the conversation on Facebook, Karibuni, YouTube, Karibuni, KTN Home, Karibuni, Spice FM, Tuko Nyumbani. On the 29th of October, we shall be running, and the run will be flagged off at Uhuru Gardens, running along the Southern Bypass in Nairobi. And there are other venues in the country where people will be running the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon 20th edition. This will be like in Mombasa and other cities. And then there's also a virtual run in the week leading up to the 29th of October. You can participate in a virtual Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon run from any part of the world, Vladivostok, or wherever. You just think of a place, whatever somebody could be. Just register on nairobimarathon.com, pay 2,000 bob, and you then get a chance to participate in this. The physical run, the virtual run, and the satellite runs as well. Just not in Nairobi, but in other parts of the country. How do you do this again? nairobimarathon.com. Let's have a conversation, but before we do this conversation, let's start with the day's Proverb City. This week's Proverbs are from Sierra Leone.
They are from Sierra Leone.
You said this word is derived from the Portuguese language.
It was the Portuguese. You know, the Portuguese actually came to that particular part of the world around the 15th century. And the explorer who people credit with that particular name was a gentleman called Pedro de Sintra. It is said he's the one who came there, looked around, and he called it Serra da Leoa. That is what he called it. Now,
Serra da Leoa.
Yes, exactly.
You know what it means?
I have absolutely no idea.
So Sierra in Portuguese means mountains.
Mm-hmm.
The Loya is lion.
Yes.
And if you land in Freetown, you'll see that it's surrounded by
lions.
surrounded by huge mountains.
Right.
So it's said that he actually named the place after the mountains that he had seen.
Lioness Mountains.
So what is the connection with the lions?
No, big in terms of how they were.
Yes.
Huge.
Yes, it's a geographic formation.
Yeah.
Okay? So, with the time, the name then became Sierra Leone.
Righty.
Okay? Now, you know, it's interesting about names. It's interesting about countries. The island that was first actually inhabited was in 1462, and the island was called Bunce, B-U-N-C-E Island. It's that same island where now, remember I was telling you about the black poor. That's where they settled at first, before now things happened. And oddly enough, that island in Africa, that post, can you believe it? It was actually owned by someone who was the UK. They claimed ownership. You know, life is really very strange. Anyway, that's
jeez.
Yep, that is a discussion for another day. Let's go back to the Proverbs. When a single hair has fallen from your head, you are not yet bald.
When a single hair has fallen from your head, you're not yet bald.
No, not yet.
Bald.
Bald.
You're bald-headed.
Yes.
Okay. Nisa sawa. Today is the second Tuesday of September. The second Tuesday of September last year was a big occasion for William Samoei Kipchirchir Arap Ruto and Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua. They were preparing at this around this time. That's when we were seeing TV cameras. Rigathi Gachagua had just done the treadmill, and then he was getting now the makeup done. William Ruto and Mama Rachel were also getting their makeup done. Suit ilikuwa imelala pale mpya.
Pigwa pasi.
Mpya imekaa pale, jaguzo imetoka kwa tailor imetengenezwa mpya. Viatu mpya, socks mpya. Yes?
Viatu mpya can be a problem. That thing inaweza kukupinch.
on this main occasion. Then shortly thereafter, they went to Kasarani, and there were many guests of state who had come to visit and witness this. People had come from across the country. Buses had come from all over overnight. Wamefika Kasarani. This is the day that the hustler takes leadership of this country. Okay? So, on that day, William Ruto became president officially, and Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua became the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya officially. It's 1 year since. It'll be 1 year tomorrow, the 13th. It was the 13th of September last year, but it's the second Tuesday. Let's just look at it as the second Tuesday. Looking back, City, in the run-up to the election, in the run-up to this, there were promises made at the campaign trail. Mm-hmm. There were things that people had said. And then there was expectation of very many people, those who had voted for these gentlemen and those who had not voted for these gentlemen. But they also had expectations of, all right, a new government comes in. There were those that were seeing, all right, maybe these guys could deliver. There were those saying, worst mistake. However, there were still expectations that the country was going to move somewhere. 1 year down the road.
Sometimes you have to ask, what are expectations based on?
Mm-hmm.
Is it something that you can put a finger on, something tangible? Is it magic thinking, or is it something that is derived from the needs that you have and needs that you feel somebody else ought to resolve for you? I guess that's part of the reason why election promises matter so much, because they get to the heart of things that we would wish to see done, but which sometimes are not as easily done as they are said. But nonetheless, we never stop hoping, because if we stopped hoping, then the disappointment that is often expressed wouldn't be there. In many, many ways, disappointment is a factor of expectations. People expect, and then when they do not receive what they expected. And the question again then arises, even as I say this, that is there a measure that is put in place to determine whether your expectations were real to begin with? What are the reality about election promises? At what point do you actually see them being actualized? What's the measure? And at what point do you think it is successful? Now, I think, to answer your question, Eric, is that what we've developed over time in this country is a negative culture where the first thing we do is to look for the very bad in anything. The worst possible case scenario is the one you deal with. Those who don't deal with that are people who feel that the president is their person in whatever way. So that president can do no wrong. And everything they do, there'll be a reason to be found to explain why whatever they're doing.
It had to be done.
Yes. And just so that this thing is given a democratic tinge, it's not just the president. Any leader we have in this country, the supporters will treat them the same. They can't say anything wrong. They can't put a foot wrong. Everything they do is right. Or if it's not right, it is justifiable. So, against this backdrop, is it possible for someone who is in leadership and whom you do not support to do anything that you will consider good? Is it possible for them to do anything that you will consider right? There are leaders who in this country for the longest time were considered to be akin to the devil. It's just that one saw them on a daily basis. The devil you actually don't see on a daily basis. You sense, you feel, you hear about him, or if it's her, but you never quite see them. And you ask, these sentiments, what exactly were they based on? Is it something that this individual had done to them? Is it something that they had seen this individual do? But usually, it's a dominant narrative that has been spun over a long period of time, and so it has gathered that very weight of reality. It is a narrative, but with time, it's considered to be a reality. So, 1 year down the line, has President Ruto delivered? Then the question is, delivered what? Well, I actually think that this particular government, let's forget the government for a moment. This particular president, in my mind, was the one president who has had the opportunity and still has the opportunity to bring about changes that we can only imagine about and which we'd hoped for, but we don't hope for too loudly because we don't think it's possible. Because you look at his energy, you look at the way he does his things, the determination he has, that's a determination when put to good can produce things that are almost unbelievable. That's my take. But then, is he going to use that energy and determination for the good?
To do good.
Yes, and even if he wants to, what is the reality of trying to do good when you are sent to that position of president? What can you actually do with what you have? What can you actually do?
Indeed. Well, I mean, I think about a year after, put the Bible down and said, look, we're getting into this thing, and I'm going to liken it to the time a child turns 1, right? There's certain milestones that you would have expected a child to have reached by the time they're 1. You would have seen some kind of movement in a vertical trajectory. They would have crawled, right? Even if they didn't crawl, they would have scooted across the floor or something. And then they would have tried to stand. They would have been eating solid food. They would still be breastfeeding, but they would be eating solid food. They would start to make sounds. In the absence of these things, the alarm bells would start going off. Like, oh my goodness, there's something wrong with this child. Perhaps I need to go and check. Now, what do we base all of these milestones or expectations on? You base them on the larger number of children at this age who have done these things, isn't it? So because other children in a larger percentage have walked by the time they're 1, because they have started to eat solid food by the time they're 1, because they've started to make sounds badaga by the time they're 1, you're going to say it is then normal that by the time a child is 1 year old, they should be doing 1, 2, 3. In the absence of that, then something is wrong. Same thing for a presidency. By the time this individual and his partner have been in leadership for a year, you would have expected, based on what others had done, or even the words that they have spoken, that 1, 2, 3 would have been done. If they have not been done, then people will start
alarm
saying,
bells. They'll be like, we need to see a doctor.
We need to see a doctor. Do we need to put the paddles on this thing and see if we can wake it up a little bit? Or do we need a whole new thing? So then you start to ask yourself, what are some of the things that they said they would do? And unfortunately, you cannot but judge except for the things that they said they would do by the time 1 year rolled by. Because it's the expectation you put out there. Same thing for the 1-year-old child. It's the expectation you put out there based on what other children had done by the time they were 1 year old. It's the expectation you put out there as the president and said, look, because I have experience in 1, 2, 3, and because I know 1, 2, 3 and how it should happen, this is what I am telling you as a people that I would have done. This is how I'm going to clean up house. This is how I'm going to spend your money. These are the things that I'm going to put in place in order for them to work. The failure that one would ascribe to such an individual, unfortunately, is based on the expectations the individual put out there for them to gobble up.
But then is that
the success also is based on the same thing.
Is that not unfair?
Why?
It's like expecting that the child will set expectations, or the mother of the child will set expectations, and then we'll start judging the child's development based on the expectations set by the child or the mother.
No.
Yet you said we shall use the experience of others. Should we not be looking at, so what did Mwai Kibaki do within the first year?
Exactly.
What did Uhuru Kenyatta do within the first year? What has Samia Suluhu Hassan done within the first year?
Against
against what others have done, then we'll be able to know. Typically, a president would be able to have achieved 1, 2, 3 things in 1 year in office.
I'm basing it on what they said they would do. These are the parameters I'm using. The parameters used for a child is that we have seen other children, by the time they get to 1, behave 1 or 2 ways. They don't have a choice. This is what they would do. If there was a developmental problem, that would now serve as a crutch. It would now serve as an issue that would stop them. Or if they needed a little bit more time, they would probably come into it. Now, this is an individual who has experience. The parameters I'm using is that you have spoken the words, you have experience, you have said things that I have seen And still, that notwithstanding, I am going to do 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
I'm going to employ 1, 2, 3 resource, right?
Okay.
Should that not happen, remember, it is against the expectation of a people that you spoke to. And this expectation has been established by your word.
Okay. How do we break down the expectations into timelines and milestones?
Okay.
Did they say within the first year, this is what I'll do, the second year, this is what I'll do? And can we refer that and say, this was the promise? First year, this is September 2023, this. September 2024, this. September 2025, all the way up to August 2027. These are the things. Do we have a list of milestones where we're actually looking and saying, no, this is a 2027 thing. He had said he'll do it by 2027. This is a 2025 thing. He had said he'll do this by 2025. Do we have that?
We have,
or has it kept changing?
We have things that they did say very clearly that they would do, and some of them that we've seen done. Okay, at Kasarani, he did say that we are going to see judges given their jobs appointments. That was done in about, I think he was sworn in and he went to State House in the afternoon and he had that done.
It was done.
It was done. We heard that there were going to be reforms in the education sector and he was going to put together a task force that was going to work on these reforms. I mean, we're still in the throes of it right now, but look, more or less, that was done. Whether they're for good or not is a totally different kettle of fish. Okay? But in terms of having that done, he said he was going to do it, was going to be done. We've also heard many other things, whether they were on the campaign trail, excuse me.
Bless you.
Or whether, thank you.
Bless you again.
Or whether it was on the day where he said, in the next 100 days, certain things will be done. We heard things about LPG coming down to 300 shillings. We were told that there would be a mobile phone. I don't know whether it was locally assembled or it was Kenya created from the beginning. That would be done. We know that in a year, at least 100 dams will be built. 1 year don't finish. Have we seen 100 dams being built around the country? Okay, we are still waiting. Maybe those are some of the teething problems that we see. All right, not necessary that you must say daddy by the time you're one, but all right. He said some of these things. I believe there was a list. I saw it a few months ago that somebody said, these are the different things that we have been told that were going to be done until now. And there was a scorecard that was being kept in terms of the implementation.
Yeah.
But these are things that were said, professed with the mouth.
I know, Ndu. What I'm asking is, apart from the things that where he says in 6 months' time and all, do we have somewhere where he actually, this was in the manifesto and said within the first year, these are the milestones. Within the second year, these are the milestones. That is one side. The other one, of course, would be those ones, the public rallies where the president goes and says, he says in June, he says by September, we'll have electric motorbikes in the country. By July, we'll have the first locally assembled mobile phone in the country. By June, we'll have this cheaper LPG in the country. By this and the other. Those ones are things that we look at. What do we have for the first year? What can we what can we judge this president on? What is this that we're using? What's a scorecard? And how are we developing this scorecard? Is it based purely on the pronouncements that the president has made in the last 1 year? Is it what he was making when he was campaigning?
Or is it against expectation when the people are waiting for you to come and sort out an issue? But let's look at some of the latent issues that were hitting us front and center before there was a change of guard. The economy was in the doldrums. The economy was on its knees. And we talked about this campaign going into August 9th as being a heavily economically skewed campaign. The messages were around the economy. The promises were around the economy. The promises on either side, on how many ever sides there were in terms of injecting into an economy that was already suffering, was to make sure that there was not going to be any more borrowing. Ding, ding, ding. That's one thing. And you're asking yourself, did it actually happen? Where there would be no more borrowing? Yes? No? Hello? Anybody in the crowd?
No, there was no borrowing. They're just lending.
Okay. That was one thing. We talked about the economy here and we're asking ourselves the question exactly what was going to happen. Right? Everybody and their uncle was saying, no, we're going to take this thing, we're going to turn it on its head and it's going to be better. So the expectation of Kenyans was that with the bringing in of a new presidency, that what you were going to see was that there would be a little bit more bang for your buck. That maybe you wouldn't need to suffer as much as you had. But look at one thing that's shouting at people today.
Same issue.
If not worse.
Was the expectation unrealistic?
Was it?
Was it unrealistic for you to expect that within 12 months, just because somebody else is occupying State House, you are actually going to see this economic turnaround?
But that's what you were told.
But Eric, I'm going back to that scorecard.
Did he say within the 1 year? Or did he say in my presidency?
No, he said
that's what I think.
He said when he's put the Bible down, I think the Bible is still down.
The Bible coming down was about Beya Unga.
Yeah, but it's still down. So Beya Unga has gone down, actually. It actually has gone down. I normally do a little look about.
He didn't say down how far.
No, he's actually when he puts the Bible down, and I'm saying the Bible is still down. Okay, he hasn't lifted it up again. But may I go back to the scorecard? You see this scorecard? What really do we base our scorecard on? Is it a lived experience, something that has happened in the past? Is it the popular, common, and accepted narrative within the political enclave that I belong to, or the community I belong to? What is this scorecard based on? Because remember, I mentioned that there is what is said, and then there's the reality that hits you when you get to that job. You may have been told that this thing can be done within a certain period. Then you get there and you realize there are so many balls in the air, and you genuinely have to juggle them. Even if one falls, you have to pick this up even as you continue juggling the others. Now, do you come out and tell people, folks, this juggling is becoming tricky? It's not quite what I expected. Or do you simply bolster ahead and continue talking about the things you hope to do? Because I have gotten to a point where I don't think it has been said that these are lies. I actually don't think so. No, I don't think so.
But what were lies? The campaign promises?
No, the campaign promises and the things that have been said. I actually don't think.
Because intention is not a lie.
No, I don't think they're lies. Because they haven't been done, it is said, you said and you didn't do so, you have lied. That's one interpretation. I actually think it is said with the intention of doing them. And when it comes to doing them, we realize this thing is really difficult to do.
Okay.
And you cannot actually get it done the way you think it could be done. So then what do? Do you come back and say you can't do it?
Yes.
Yes, you do. Absolutely, 100%. I'll say, in fact, can we say down to 10 o'clock?
Yes.
When you get to a point where I have told you that I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, because you must realize the presidency does not give you superhuman or uberhuman characteristics or powers. You do not become Houdini and wave your magic wand and things happen. You're still a human being. So you get into the thing and you realize that, oh my goodness, there are several factors that are playing out in this thing. You tell the people the truth. That, look, man, we're in this thing. And I thought I was going to be able to do 1, 2, 3. And I've realized that certain factors are precluding me from doing it. You do. You say it. You do. But that has been the problem. That leadership has not been honest enough to tell the people that this is exactly what is going on, and let me try and figure it out a little bit more. But you want to give people the illusion that you have all these boiling pots under control. Meanwhile, the thing is fizzling there and about to blow up. You tell the people the truth. And I think that's one of the things that leadership lacks. To be able to say that actually, I've hit a bit of a roadblock.
Now, the problem is that people also don't listen. So the man says, nikiweka Biblia chini hivi. This is before he becomes president, okay? He weka Biblia chini hivi, then he gets into office, he realizes, my God, these guys have left only 918 bob at the treasury. At the treasury. Then he comes and says, actually, fanyeni hivi, give me 1 year. Give me 1 year. If that thing had said that nikiweka Biblia chini hivi, unga itashuka. Give me 1 year. He came back and said, give me 1 year. Kwani mlifikiria ati unga inashuka tu hivyo, kwani yote nyinyi, what's wrong with you people?
Fikirianga aje?
Okay. Nafikiria tunakaa tu hivyo ati nini, hapana, lazima tukote ushuru and all these things. Na tupande mahindi. 1 year. When you were saying give me 1 year, that was early this year. So we still have a couple of months before the 1 year is over for him to say, okay, can we judge again?
This guy did.
So he came back and gave the truth.
He did.
Situation as it is ile nilisema Biblia chini. Biblia niliweka chini lakini hakuna mahindi kwa nafaka. Hakuna nini. I'm opening importation window for maize. Maize comes and says, my God, that even huko nje, people don't have maize. Now we have to plant all those things.
And
So-
you think these realities dawned on them after the Bible had been put down?
Yes.
Okay, so now let me tell you. Do you see the CBC? It's a very good thing. You know why? You
Mhm.
know how they grade? They don't give you A, B, C, D, Z. They tell you meeting expectation, approaching expectation, or
Surpassing,
exceeding expectation.
Right.
What do you think all of this is benched on? Because they also
ABCD.
they also
Continuous
believe-
assessment.
as they've been seeing you over time, they know, okay, you've reached here, you've reached here, you've reached here.
Right.
In addition to that, they also know, again, that
Your
by
potential.
Omo, today, that thing you drank in the morning
It's working.
is working. That they also know that a child of this age, surely by now, should be able to tell us fractions, should be able to tell us 1, 2, 3. So even with this assessment that we've given them, we can see that they've scored 80 over 100. They are approaching expectation, or they're meeting expectation, or they're exceeding expectation. But it's hooked on something. And I'm saying, you see this something in a presidency, more often than not, it is, I hope, and I pray to God that by the time you're telling people something, it's not just something that you sat and picked it out of the sky. There was a manifesto. There was a plan. It was, in fact, it was called the plan.
It is the plan.
It's based on something, isn't
Yes.
it? That the advisors who came and said, look, based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we will then be able to do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yes.
Abi?
Yes.
It's based on something. It's almost
Yes.
scientific in nature,
Mm.
right? Now, in the event
And then
that
things
doesn't happen, then
So the
what
mother
will the
maybe
teacher
has
do?
a problem. We have
What
problem
will the
with
teacher
nutrition.
do in CBC? She'll bring you, or he will bring you and say, okay, this thing where we are,
We need to have a conversation. What's happening? Is it that
going on?
there's a problem with nutrition here? Is it
you're eating well at home?
home?
Somebody
Is your
say-
immunity low? Is there anything else that's impacting? And okay, so let's take a break then and ask everybody. Okay, it is the second Tuesday of September 2023. On such a day last year, second Tuesday of September 2022, William Samoei Kipchirchir Arap Ruto changed to become Dr. William Samoei Kipchirchir Arap Ruto, CGH, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya. 1 year in office. Well, how do you rate him? Is he approaching expectation? Is he meeting expectation? Is he exceeding expectations? Actually, we're going to use just those three. It's CBC time. Meeting,
approaching,
meeting, or exceeding,
Exceeding.
expectations. And you'll tell us based on what? What are you basing your expectations on? 25 minutes to 9. Keep it here. We'll be back shortly. We want to hear from you after this break. 0719 012 600.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
3, 2.
Everybody, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Heri Latifa, Kismuga, Madam Du, nimesalamia wote sana.
Tumepokea salamu, asante sana.
Hapa Garissa today the weather is very good, only that baridi inatupeleka mbio sana.
Sasa baridi ni degree ngapi hapo?
Hata sijui lakini madam tunakauka sana.
If you want to follow the money trail, you've got to think like a thief to be able to catch that thief.
A slap from a friend is better than a kiss from an enemy. You remember the kiss of Judas Iscariot?
Partly sunny conditions in Nairobi this morning. It's 16 degrees, highs of 26 and lows of 14. We'll see lows of 14 in a mostly cloudy Nakuru, highs of 25. And at 17, it's sunny in Nyeri, highs of 26 and lows of 15. It's 16 and cloudy in Eldoret, highs of 23 and lows of 13. And sunny at 24 in Mombasa, highs of 30 and lows of 24. It's sunny at 25 in Malindi, it'll see highs of 30. And at 22, it's mostly cloudy in Kisumu, highs of 28. 27 will be the high in a mostly cloudy Kakamega at 20. And at 20, it's mostly sunny in Kampala, highs of 27. Dar es Salaam will see highs of 29, where it's mostly sunny at 26. It's slightly warmer in Johannesburg at 7, highs of 18 and lows of 4. Mostly cloudy in Lagos at 25, with highs of 29. And Kinshasa will see highs of 34 and lows of 21.
Spice up your life.
All right, we are in traffic hour proper this Tuesday morning, not biting too hard. Whatever was happening on the Thika Superhighway seems to be diminishing as you get towards the Pangani underpass. We're looking at Uhuru Highway, busy coming in from Where is this? This is the Nyeri Stadium roundabout coming in from Langata. It's also a bit heavy, so we'll take in some of that traffic going out towards Uhuru Highway. Busy then getting out into the CBD and out towards Westlands. That looks like it'll be there for some time. But again, not too bad. I think folks have gotten over the Tuesday morning traffic. Even going towards the Eastern Bypass, that has settled down a little bit. How about we take a look in about half hour or so? Talk to us still on Spice FM, KE on X.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
We want to hear from you. 0719 012 600. Again, 0719 012 600. Let's hear from you. It's a year since President William Samoei, well, it'll be a year tomorrow, the 13th of September. But it's the second Tuesday of September, and so we're just using that as a date. On the second Tuesday of September last year, William Ruto became the President of the Republic. He became William V. Now, we are asking you, how do you rate his performance as president? Is it below expectation? Is it approaching expectation, meeting expectation, exceeding expectation?
Let me read a comment that one of our listeners from Mombasa just sent. He said, leadership doesn't thrive in truth. And he gives an example. To vacate a burning theater, one doesn't shout fire. Then he also says, no pilot would tell the passengers that all landing systems have malfunctioned.
So we still got one engine running, folks. That time you're nose diving.
So you've got to inspire, you've got to give hope.
You've got to find a way.
You can't say, no, it's all downhill from here. I mean, things are not working. You have to find a way of what?
Well, mitigating is the word I would
embellishing the
use.
truth.
Well, you can embellish it, or you can choose what truth to say when. Because the truth is we are struggling. Okay? You don't have to go into the details of how it is you're struggling. And more so, you don't have to keep pointing a finger at your immediate predecessor, saying, we are struggling because the road wasn't fixed, because at some point you ask, we've got that, but you're the one who's in charge.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you doing? Yeah, we've got that one. That person isn't here.
It's like the guy in the relay who gets a baton slow. So are you going to stand there and start complaining?
Saying, why are you giving it to me now and other guys have left? Why didn't you run faster?
Yeah. Actually. You stand in there and say, I'm not running.
I'm not running this
After
thing.
all, you
What do you
dropped
mean?
Let's go to the phone lines. Joseph in Eldoret, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Very well, thank you. Welcome to the Situation Room.
Yeah.
How do you grade the president?
Okay, according to me, he has not even met the expectations that, according to the promises that he had made previously when he was campaigning. Because there are so many small things that he has done. Now he is turning 1 year. He has made to the presidency. So he has more to do. But because he came out and asked for 1 year so that he may do 1, 2, 3. So let's wait and see what he can deliver to us.
So in the 1 year,
Yes.
Are you hopeful? Are you looking forward to the other 4 years? Or are you feeling he started off on the wrong footing?
He has started with the wrong footing. Because basing to the 5 years that he has to run, he has done nothing. But he still comes out to give other promises, yet he has not finished the promises that he had made before.
He's adding more into his entry.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Joseph.
Welcome.
0719 012 600. We want to hear from you. David says, guys, Ruto has a 5-year contract with Kenyans, and so far he's on his way fixing this country. That's where he begins from. Jim says, unfortunately, the whole 1 year, Raila's name has been mentioned by Gachagua 1 billion times.
This is impossible.
That is after he has mentioned Uhuru.
I mean, it's just been too long. Just mentioning. Let's hear from Jack in Nairobi. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
I love the show. I think the government should actually pay you guys. You do a lot of civic education, which is absolutely great for the country.
We are collecting signatures. We'll come for yours.
Awesome. So on my side, I think I'd grade this government with another grade which is probably not on your list, which is a Y. I think in KCSE, people who cheat on their exams are given a Y. So I think some of the promises this far have been outranked. The whole debacle we had with housing levy, once we are told it's a tax, it's not a tax, it will not increase taxes, will not do this, will not do that. So I think it's been an absolute disappointment.
You think he cheated in the exam?
Sorry?
You think he cheated in the exam?
I think he cheated. He gave false promises to win the ticket, with all the reducing of the taxes and reducing of the cost of living. However, they haven't lived up to the expectations of many Kenyans.
All right, Jack.
And that would be my take on that.
Thank you. Peter Kazungu in Mombasa. Hello.
Hello, Eric and CT and Du.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, I think you've forgotten one more ranking in the CBC system. There's below expectation.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've amended to start with that. Below expectation, approaching expectation, meeting expectation, and exceeding.
I think this government has performed below expectation. And here's the basis for my ranking. One of the major promises that cut across the entire nation and probably led them to victory was reducing the cost of living. And instead of reducing or at least stabilizing the cost of living, it has increased during their first year in office. So how can they be approaching expectation if instead of at least stabilizing, the cost of living has increased during their term? And they cannot use the war in Ukraine as an excuse, because that war has been there before they even came into power. Uhuru had to deal with Corona, and we did not experience this kind of suffering in terms of cost of living. So I think this presidency or this regime is performing below expectation.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. 0719-012-300 600 0719-012-600. Robert in Waithaka.
Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Robert.
What about Ndu and City?
What about?
We are very well, thank you, sir.
I didn't want to leave you guys out.
Thank you, sir.
Well, back on Ruto, well, I'll give him a rating of 7.
Out of 100?
No, out of 10.
Okay.
And what has mainly encouraged me is we had a drive for planting. You know when he came and told us we have fertilizer.
Yep.
Farmers come register yourself.
Yep.
For some time agriculture has been the backbone of this country. We had really left it out, but there's a sense of it coming back as a young person, and I feel like he needs support. Actually, I'd say what is remaining is we need that patriotism, that drive, that, the president has said this. From our part as citizens, can we hold him and move forward? Yeah, I think I can put you in a proverb. I know it is work, but
he can delegate it.
I have delegated officially. Please proceed.
Okay, I read it from one of my dad's notebook, and it says that be an encourager. The world has plenty of critics already. Is that okay?
You choose that one. Thank you. That's a good one, Robert. So you give him 7 out of 10. That's actually meeting expectation.
Kinda, for me, my expectations as a citizen, as when I voted for him, I feel on the right track.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So
thank you, Robert.
You guys don't agree with me?
Asante. Kaka Josh from Mombasa.
Yes, good morning, Latiff.
Good morning.
Yes, this is Kaka Josh from Mombasa. Fast forward, I want to say that this government has performed below, expectation. And to me, that is not a surprise. There are realities to life that at times we need to live up to. The fact remains that no government, a new regime in power that can deliver, or give their best in their first year in office. You understand all that it takes to settle down, yeah? You have to have this cabinet in place. You have to, put all apparatus in place before you can think of delivering or giving, your best. The same applies to you last year in office. That is just before, elections, huh? So even right now, we can say this regime has 3 years, or rather 3 years of their first term in office. We can't say 4 years because, again, there is nothing that happens in the last year of election. Coming back to what I've just said, yeah, this government that is apparently in power, Ruto has tested this and they understand this, yes. He knew it very well that in the first year in office, there's just very little that I can do. But he promised so much and said, when the Bible is down, this will happen. When the Bible is down, this will happen. If that needed a layman like me, who has not tasted the power and knows how the inner room, how hot or cold the inner room is. And so that is what did in this mess. He promised a lot, knowing very well that there is just very little that you can do, before you settle down. But that's right. It's even surprised us so much to an extent of washing his dirty linen in public. I mean, how can a president stand and you grill you cabinet in public and say and tell Kenyans that so far so good, the team have nominated have confirmed they can deliver. Yes, and even the deputy president, they are all in public claiming how the cabinets are just into life. They're not into delivering to the agendas of what they came in power to do. So I believe that was a sign and that was a red flag to failure. And so that even tells me what to anticipate or what to, wait for in the coming 3 years.
Kaka,
but
thank
I'm
you.
not surprised I'm not surprised for what has happened in the first year because I literally know as a layman that there's just nothing that you can do in your first year.
Point made, Kaka. Thank you very much. Let's hear from others. Ken in Roiro, good morning.
Good morning, team. How are you?
Very well.
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, just to reiterate, personally, I feel that the president and his team is approaching expectations, given the fact that it is their first year. And obviously, there was some time that was taken through the petitions in court and the dispute around the election.
Yep.
And the fact that he has had to handle a fairly hostile opposition. But I think we have to give credit where it's due. Something like the Hustler Fund, setting it up, launching it, and getting 2.something billion out there to several unknown Kenyans is not a small feat. I think that in itself lends him credit.
Yep.
Looking at sustainability in terms of cost of living, taking a long-term move like, saying let's subsidize fertilizer instead of subsidizing food, I think that also was a credit to him. And looking at cost of living, eliminating VAT on LPG, personally, I think he has tried his level best, but I think there is still so much that he can do, and the PR is not helping him. I think they talk more than they actually do, so perhaps that's something that they have to learn
They
from.
need to do. All right.
Yeah, but I feel that they are on the right track, given that this is their first year.
Approaching expectation. Ken, thank you. Let's hear from Wainaina in Moranga. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys?
Very well.
To my side, yeah? This is below expectations, yeah?
Why?
Well, for example, when Uhuru went off, yeah? The dollar was 120.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, the dollar was 150.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the euro and the pound. The hike is too much from Uhulu's time to today. Let's go to fertilizer. In Moranga, there was no anything like fertilizers which were delivered. So we can talk about this below expectations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Robert in Eldoret.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes to you, Robert.
Good morning, team.
Good morning.
We appreciate so much your work you do for us. We are happy about the station. As for me, I will say that this government is approaching expectations. One thing is that for the first time, we have somebody who is making decisions. But unfortunately, the decisions appeared based on vengeance or revenge, or to some extent, there's so much public relations without much action on the ground. When you come to the ground, for example, on the fertilizer issue, the registration process is so long. The places where you get the fertilizers are very far, and then the farmers have to spend so much money to get the fertilizer to their farms, especially those small scale farmers. And then the team is also focused in the past. They are focused on who was doing what well, instead of doing the work now, because as you had indicated earlier, when you are doing relay, you need to pass the baton. So you don't need to focus on the past. So I wish they would focus on what they are
On what they're supposed to do now.
And yes, and then also let them try and fulfill some of the promises they made.
Okay.
Otherwise, let's go. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Vladimir says on Twitter, I score them EE, that's exceeding expectation. That is based on the fact that he expected that the administration will fail.
Oh, wow.
So they're exceeding his expectation.
His own expectation. This is not a corporate expectation, as it were, with a marking scheme. It is him and as an individual, and he's...
Okay, a couple of things that have been said here. Look, so there was a promise, Hustler Fund, 50 billion shillings, getting it towards 50 billion shillings. There's how much now? Is it 30 billion? That is in Hustler Fund, and there's a fund that's operational. More and more products are being rolled out on it. You know, there's the individual, now we have gone into the groups, and it's continuing into the corporate sector and helping the hustlers do these things. So there are a couple of things that he said we can do, and we've seen there's a movement towards doing, there's realizing them, there's movement towards doing. There are many things that, are said that did be done, and the expectation was, okay, this is going to happen immediately. And you realize it can't happen, really. I guess what the administration ought to have done is come out clearly and say, this is what we hope to do within set milestones. Because they have the milestones. We've sat here with principal secretaries, they have targets. The cabinet secretaries, they have targets. They signed performance contracts. The performance contract is not what you'll do within 5 years. It's what you'll do and how shall we be gauging your performance progressively. The continuous assessment, can we make that public? Tell us, if it's the Ministry of Trade, what is the expectation that you've given your ministers? Because that's the expectation that you have. That's the promise that you're making.
Yeah, and I don't think it should be looked at in a punitive manner. I think it should be looked at in a progressive manner, because we always want to hide this information as though it's, the world's best kept secret.
Yeah.
Why? And you're talking about the development of a nation. Come out and say, this is what I was supposed to do. Because of 1, 2, 3, I'm not able to do them. There are certain challenges. Or guess what? I have been able to do them. And I don't know why all of this is always shrouded in secrecy. Say it. There's nothing wrong with that. Just say that this is it. Because what you do is then you truly have an inclusive manner in which you do things.
Yep.
But then what do you expect the people to do? When at the very end of it, you come and tell them, well, by the way, I really thought that we'll be able to do that. And guess what? Bob's your uncle is 2027 and we were not able to. I mean, come on. If you kept them along the way,
yep,
and let people know this is where we've reached.
Yep.
This is where we are going. Because of 1, 2, 3 challenges, we will not be able to reach this place.
Yep.
I think there's a certain amount of respect that you're called your people. Because you've come to them and say, give me an opportunity. Then for some reason, this has not been able to work. Bring them along as well.
Just come
and
out
I think
and
that's
say.
what needs to happen.
Yep.
It happens in progressive societies. This is a progressive society. It must happen here as well.
Come out actually and just create a dashboard. Communicate very well. Create a dashboard and say, right, this is the plan. The plan has implementation matrices. This is it. Hustler Fund, 15 billion shillings within the first year for the Hustler Fund operating and rotating in a kitty. Is it happening? Is it not? Can we gauge that? In terms of the Ministry of, this one, we've talked about the foreign direct investment, attracting $10 billion foreign direct investment within the first year. This and the other. Education, increasing enrollment, increasing feeding, whatever. Just tell us, these are the things that I want to do this year. So we're all working towards the same thing. We're not working against you achieving. It's all of us win if these things actually come to fruition. Anyway, keep it here for more conversations, and thank you very much for having this conversation with us and calling in. The conversations continue, of course, on social media, on YouTube and Facebook, all the comments, and Twitter, X, all the comments happening there as well. In the next hour, we want to talk about recycling. Yes, and this is when you have sewage and you want to bring it back into circulation. Sewage treatment in the country. Is it a good thing? Is it happening? It's happening a lot. How do you take advantage of it? 9 a.m. Good morning.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. Cooperation and integration among African countries is the solution for development in the African continent. This is according to President William Ruto. Speaking at the Business and Technology Conference organized by the Kaufman Fellow Africa Venture Capital, President Ruto pointed out that the African continent will prosper if African Union members maintain unity and harmony. Apologies for that. Now, Ruto has also praised the AU's move to be included in the G20 group of 20 countries. He said through the AU, African countries will be involved in designing policies that affect the world economy. Regarding technology, the president revealed that Kenya has made great strides in the use of technology in business and other sectors. He indicated that this will enable Kenyans, especially with low income, to buy government shares. Now, the El Nino warning that has been made to Kenyans that the rains that have started across the country may turn into an El Nino phenomena that will continue for a long period until December or January next year. Met Department Director in Bungoma County, Noah Eredi, says that the El Nino forecast shows that these will be experienced in many parts of East Africa, and thus the need for Kenyans to prepare. Eredi has already warned drivers to be careful when driving during the rainy season.
Msimu kama huu barabara zetu huwa ni telezi. Tunahimiza wale drivers punguze speed ya magari yao, kuepuka magari yao kufanya ile tunaita skidding. Maji iko mingi, imefurika pahali, labda kuna kivukio hapo, ni vizuri madereva wasiende hapo, wasiingize magari hapo, huenda ikasombwa na mafuriko. Ni vizuri unatulia kwanza, mafuriko inaenda chini, alafu naendelea na safari yako.
It says that the forecast shows this will be experienced not only in Kenya but several parts of East Africa.
Tarajia viwango vya mvua vipate kuimarika ukikompea na zile miaka ingine, na hii ni kutokana na El Nino. Tunatarajia El Nino kuwa na tukio hilo kwa kawaida huwa linaendelea, linapiki huko mwezi wa 11 na huwa inaenda hadi Disemba, na saa ingine hata hiyo mvua inaweza ikaingia kidogo kwa mwezi wa Januari.
A related matter, and Red Cross has called on the international donor funding community to provide resources that will assist in preparations towards the El Nino. Speaking in Mombasa, Secretary General Ahmed Idris said that so far no funds have been channeled towards the cause in the eventuality there'll be a disaster.
Second to note, and sadly so, is that whenever we talk about early preparedness, globally speaking, there is very little resources put in place for early action. And our request and our appeal to donors, the donor community, is to avail as much resources as possible for early intervention, early action. That is what is going to make the difference in people's lives.
In Nairobi, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja said that the county government will start demolishing buildings and stalls built on drainage systems. Speaking during the unveiling of a preparedness plan for the El Nino rains in Nairobi, Sakaja said they'll identify buildings that pose a flooding threat and evacuate residents from them. These even comes as 3,500 environmental officers have been employed to clean and unclog the drainages so as to avoid the adverse effects of the rains. Now, Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has assured Kerio Valley leaders that the government will commence constructing roads as one of the ways to restore peace. Murkomen said the government had plans to deal with conflict as soon as possible so as to boost the region's economy. To other stories, and members of the County Assembly in Nyeri County have threatened to begin an impeachment motion against Governor Amos Nyeribo. 28 out of 34 MCAs have approved an impeachment motion. According to Township Ward MCA Duke Masira, who is the deputy leader of the majority in the Assembly, they want Nyeribo to resign or face impeachment over 22 million shillings drug scandal. In addition, Masira said that MCAs have lost faith in Nyeribo because he has been abusing his authority. The drugs purchase scandal led to the governor sacking Timothy Ombati, who was the county's health minister. Ombati has since moved to court on grounds that he was unlawfully sacked. He wants the governor to reinstate him immediately. To another sad story, and shock has engulfed Kagio town in Kirinyaga County after a 38-year-old woman killed her boyfriend by stabbing him 5 times. According to Kirinyaga West Sub-County Police Commander Moses Koske, the woman, who is a barmaid in the trading center, surrendered at the Kagio police station. I'm Dennis Asera. Good morning.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Knocking on the end of traffic hour is what we're doing right about now, a few minutes after 9 o'clock, and we're looking at just a little bit of it left in the city this morning. Coming out of Westlands, we'll see some of that, and then going out from the CBD out towards Westlands, also we'll see some movement of traffic. All right, coming on the Thika Superhighway, a little bit of it, just left at that Pangani underpass. Apart from that, you're going to be able to get in and out of the city in no time. Quick beat, and you'll be fine. Let's talk Spice FM KE on X, and let's keep things moving and see what happens closer to the end of traffic hour.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7 minutes after 9. Welcome to the final hour of the Situation Room this Tuesday morning. It's 12th day of September 2023. We are running.
Yes, we are.
That is a done deal.
Yes, we've agreed. We are running.
Okay. What we need to do now is register.
Exactly.
Okay.
And understand why we are running. We're just going to start running for. Not understand why we're running, when we're running. How you will run is totally up to you. But okay. It's Kenya's largest single-day athletics event. It's back this year. It's bigger than ever because it's the 20th edition and it's the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon. It's happening on the 29th of October. So there's the date done. What do you need to do? You need to get on over to www.nairobimarathon.com. Then you need to fork out 2,000 shillings. So with that 2,000 bob, you register for the race. You run. After they've done all those things for you, the remaining money, they're going to now use it to make sure that young people, especially girls and people living with disability, are able to learn, grow, and earn. It's the Future Makers program, all under the umbrella of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon. Good stuff, Nay?
Nay. Okay, we've been having water issues in this country.
Where?
We have an entire Ministry of Water,
The El Nino is
Irrigation,
even coming.
Sanitation.
Yeah.
All right? But then, with this all water shortage, we still also have consumption. Wherever we're getting the water from, we are consuming. And as we consume, we are generating waste, aka sewage. Can that sewage become water again? Think about it.
I don't want to.
You've drunk the water, you've passed it. Can you take that
And
what
drink
you've
it
passed
again.
and bring it back to the table? Because these things, it's the same.
It's the circle of life, after all.
To have this conversation with us this morning, we are joined by Robert Mundia. He is the CEO of a company called BioVend East Africa. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Du.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to finally be here.
Yes. That's the hot seat of the Situation Room. How does it feel?
It's quite hot.
Buana, not yet. Surely.
Not yet.
Wait till 9:17.
No, but I will do my best to articulate sewage.
You've just entered the gate.
finesse.
They have to do a Karimu. These people are good hosts. You have just entered. Hata kama ni kujitetea utolewe sahani za wageni. Haiombangu hivyo.
Sio hivyo.
Utapatia chai lakini.
Tashukuru.
You know about Dairy Best milk?
Yes.
The one by Brookside.
Yes.
Right? Long life milk, creamy and rich. Ukipatia watu chai, hii ndio maziwa.
Okay.
And don't just a TP much. Kenya, we love tea. Now, there are people who are very mean with it's true, isn't it?
Kenyans like tea.
Tea. Every time at chai.
Yeah.
Unamaliza kula, utakunywa chai? Haujaanza kunywa napika, utakunywa chai?
Yeah. Is it like, I think it's a sign of respecting a guest or something
Yes.
in Kenya, sindio?
I mean, nilienda hata chai.
Chai.
Usually the most basic chai.
Yeah.
Now, when you're entertaining guests, have a company of Dairy Best there.
Yeah.
Because it's long life, you can just buy the entire carton.
Yeah.
The wacha ikae hapo a dozen. Just
Watakuja, they'll find it still.
They'll find it there.
Okay.
Yeah. You met with CT.
Yes.
CT has become a politician.
Okay.
Now he's walked out. He's going to do it for a meeting. I don't know where. There's
Right,
a delegation coming from where?
He's guest of honor.
Yes. Now he has gone to meet that delegation.
That's quite okay.
Yeah.
He'll I hope he watches the show.
He definitely will.
Yes. Sewage is important.
He left Ndu with a proverb.
Okay.
From Sierra Leone.
From Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Where Sierra Leone is?
Yes.
Somewhere there
West
in the nook
Africa.
of West Africa.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to try and say it the way CT said it. Just because one hair falls from your head doesn't mean you're bald. Or does not start bald. Look,
You get the gist.
Just take it like that, my brother.
Just
Accept
because
the hair.
one hair falls from the head does not mean you're bald.
Yes.
So, what we can say is Yeah, don't give up. One hair doesn't mean that it's a whole like a whole.
Unless
top
it
of
was
the
the
head,
only
you
one
know.
left. Okay,
Yeah. Unless it was the only one left. Yes. Good point. Good point. Good
Okay,
point.
sorry.
Yeah. So it's about not giving up. You know, it doesn't really matter what happens, even if something wrong happens.
Right.
And I think that conversation is going to concern what we are going to discuss because of climate change and stuff like that. People messed up, the human race messed up, but we are not yet messed up completely. We can still come back to we can still bring it back.
We can still.
It's just one hair, or not one, but a few hairs have fallen.
It
But
doesn't mean that we are.
No, we are not done yet.
We are not yet bald.
Yeah, not yet.
Now, you know, Robert, in Shags, people do pit latrines. And then people start doing these brick houses. And hakuna choo ya nyumba. And now they have to do a septic pale. What we call septic.
Yeah.
In urban areas, for a long time, in the old estates of Nairobi, connected to a sewer trunk, takes this thing to Ruai. You don't even know where Ruai, you just know it goes to Ruai. And that's it. Now, on the outskirts of Nairobi, development happens. And people are building estates, and they also are thinking of how to deal with their sewage. Now, this is where the terms start coming in. What I've just said, septic tank. Then someone else tells you biodigester. Someone else tells you sewage
STP.
treatment plant. What are these things?
Sewage. There are many ways of like disposing of sewage. We'll start with the old methods, the ones you've just mentioned: pit latrines, septics, and soak pits. Now, those ones, they are the conventional ones where sewage used to be put underground, and it degenerates and the water soaks into the ground, but some solids will remain at some point. And the water that goes into the ground goes and percolates. It just goes underground, and you don't know where it goes to. You know, I'll explain later. At some point, it's quite dangerous.
Okay.
Then come the latest sort of is called a biodigester. Biodigesters, everybody thinks everything that recycles sewage water is called a biodigester. It is not. Nataka tuambiane ukweli leo. We just say the truth. A biodigester does not recycle sewage water.
What does it do?
It cleans the sewage just enough for it to be able to go into a soak pit so that it can soak into the ground easily and slowly. You know, if you just...
So it doesn't bring back the water.
It doesn't.
It helps in the sending of the water into the soil.
Underground.
Okay.
In some situations, it brings back the water.
Okay.
We'll explain later. Black cotton soil and stuff.
Right.
But now, the latest invention is a sewage treatment plant. It's not actually very new. In other countries, like, say, the people I work for, we are an agent of a company in Denmark called Sandstone. And the people we work for, they have research and development on sewage, just sewage matters. That's what they do. And, wastewater in general. And what they've come up with is something called a sewage treatment plant. But even on sewage treatment plants, there's subsectors also, where you have one called MBR. And the latest one is called submerged aerated filters. That is the cleanest. When water is cleaned, it looks just like the water that you buy from the supermarket.
It's clear.
It is clear. If you put two bottles, sewage water and water bought from the supermarket over here, nobody will know which one is sewage and which one is not.
And do they taste the same?
No, it's not supposed to be drunk.
Moja iko na chumvi.
It's
not supposed to, it cannot be consumed.
This is the thing. There is levels of cleanliness. There is stages. Chamber 1, Chamber 2, Chamber 3, Level 1 till Level 5. When you get to the part where you need to drink that water, there is a Level 6. And they're already doing it in Europe. They drink sewage without thinking so much. In Kenya, I don't think you should try that. Probably there's going to be a problem. You're not going to sell those houses if it's houses that you advertise that people drink
So
sewage.
those that have sewage treatment plants...
Those people actually go steps further to be certified edge, like the cleanest. They operate on solar, they recycle their water, sewage water. The water for processes in the industries are recycled again for reuse, you see. So people like Tilisi, it's a housing community somewhere in Rironi. Those guys took all the sewage that is going to be ever produced in that compound, and it's being recycled. They are not yet done.
What does recycling mean?
Recycling, it means that when you take the raw sewage from the toilet, from the bathroom, and from the kitchens all together. Again, let me differentiate. Biodigesters don't take in all the water. You have to separate. Nowadays, you find that houses are built and the toilet water is separate, the bathroom water is separate.
Yeah.
With this new system, you don't need to separate, which means you save even on plumbing because one pipe brings everything into the system.
Okay.
Now, you end up getting the raw sewage into one chamber, solids settle, water remains in the middle, and there is something we call scum on top. That is the fats.
The scum of the earth.
Literally. Literally.
So what is this scum?
Scum is important.
It's lighter than water.
It's fats from soaps, from the kitchen also.
Okay.
It is good. Biodigesters don't... the scum is not good for biodigesters because they drown or suffocate the bacteria.
Okay.
Now, the scum on top on sewage treatment plants is very, very important because it masks the smell or covers the smell because of the fats. So you find there is a lot of activity going on there. I'll go to the next chamber. Let me go to the next chamber where you have settling also. Then there's the third chamber and fourth chamber. There's a lot of aeration that takes place. The aeration that takes place, the idea is to create a conducive atmosphere for bacteria to thrive. Bacteria is what consumes the sewage, and the water, the clean water remains. Yes, we use no chemicals. In fact, if the Danish guys came and found out that I injected any kind of chemical or something, I think they would even take away
a pellet like this.
Yeah, there's going to be a problem.
So this whole thing is creating a conducive environment for bacteria to thrive. Thrive means the bacteria themselves multiplying.
Exactly.
To a very high number.
Yes.
So they can cool all this solid stuff.
All the sewage, yes.
Okay. Can we take a step back? And the question is, why would you want to clean sewage?
Do all these things.
Why would you want to get into all of why? Why would you want to clean sewage?
Imagine this. People who live probably in this area of Nairobi, going back from Syokimau, Mlolongo, Ukambani, there is a major rock underneath. The water does not percolate easily. Number two, it is black cotton. The soil that is up there is black cotton. If you do install the biodigester or the soak pit or the septics that take the water underground, then when it rains, there could be a problem because the rain comes and collects. Because not all the water has gone. The rain comes and collects the sewage, and you end up finding probably there is an area that is greener than any other area. That mboga is bigger. You know, that carrot is not as big as this one here. You just know that sewage has settled somewhere there. It has been picked up by the soil. Now, the essence of recycling sewage water, number one, the fact that you probably use some water to water your lawn. You're going to save on that water because you're paying for that water, even if it's borehole water. You're still being charged for it. There's a meter, right? Now, that meter, you can imagine being, if you're paying 3,000, then you start paying 1,000 shillings. It's not bad, number one. Number two, just being responsible for the environment. I know it is hard, saying that, you pay all this money because you want to be responsible for the environment and stuff. But responsibility, it starts from
Let's talk about that.
Somewhere.
So you talked about this whole area.
Yeah.
Mlolongo, Syokimau, going to Kambani, touching a bit of Kitengela.
Yeah, Kitengela and Green Park and going that way.
Green Park and going towards Daystar.
Yes.
There's a major rock underground.
Yes.
What does that mean?
It's really thick. For example, you go digging underground. We usually install the systems underground.
Okay.
To reduce on footprint. You just see manhole covers and that's it. All the work goes on underground. So when you go digging in areas like Karen coming this way towards Kiambu, red soil and stuff like that, you find the red soil is easy to dig. But you go till about 2 meters, you still don't find the rock. So you're okay to install the sewage treatment plant or biodigester and soak pit or everything. Go this other way. You go 1.5 meters, you find a rock in Syokimau. Number two, before you even find the rock, you're going to find water. The water table in these areas is quite high. So where is the water going to go to?
Before you get to 2 meters, there's water.
Yes.
In Syokimau?
Yes, in Mulolongo especially. Practically Mulolongo.
Mulolongo is dry, but
that's what I was about to ask. So why don't we see greenery everywhere?
No, it says down there. I'm telling you, it just goes down there. Ask anybody who's dug holes in, especially Mulolongo. 1.5 meters, you find some water. You start seeing even the soil. Even during the dry seasons, you find the water is sort of maji, sort of watery.
The soil.
Yes, the soil. Yes, so that rock does not allow water to percolate easily.
Okay.
Which means it either goes above the rock and goes this way towards the other soily and easier areas. It won't go lower. So
that's why we are finding the water.
Yes.
Okay.
Most of the time, yes.
Because of the rock that is now. So if you were to install, let's not even go into the sewer treatment. Let's just say if you were to put up a soak pit in this area of Mlolongo, what would the problem be? You have not said this thing will come back into the toilet. It's just chasing down underground.
During the rainy season, that water table raises again, and the soil is saturated with water. So you can imagine if it's a biodigester, where will that water go to? It won't go nowhere. It will just have to come back to the toilets. Or most of the time, there are ways of showing that the last manhole is usually a way that you can look and see that this water it's not going anywhere. So then you take precaution, get an exhauster, pull out, and then hope that it doesn't happen again. Those are the people now who should install sewage treatment plants.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. If we want to look at this on a larger scale and talk about then what should be put in by counties, for example, knowing full well that a particular area has this, mass of rock or whatever, how would then should it then affect developments, housing, things like that? There are people who want to come and put in their own sewage systems without having this pre-knowledge about what's going on. What is then, so should the alternate be to put in STPs?
Exactly.
Because you are not able to, because what we have right now, truth be told, is that people are pouring raw sewage into the environment before lack of another system where this can be done. So what should it be for developments? So in this area, the advocacy should be then install STPs per development or per area. And how would that work?
Decentralizing them, trying to have every developer be responsible for their own sewage. Because you find that probably, if they're the ones who have installed the STP, one is that they're going to find the benefits of water. So they're going to take advantage. They're going to take care. They're going to maintain it very, very well. Now, if you have, like the laws, there are some laws abroad in Europe where you find it is actually a requirement. It is a legislation. In a particular area, you're not supposed to put in anything that goes where the water goes underground. You have to install a sewage treatment plant because they know the area. Now, sorry.
Go ahead. No, please go ahead.
Okay, so you find that in these areas where black cotton, especially where black cotton soil is, it doesn't really matter where the rock is, because in current there's black cotton soil and there's no rock, and they're having problems where the biodigester still the water does not soak in very easily. I mean, the soil is not really good for soakage. So it is supposed there's supposed to be legislation for all this. Sewage treatment and what should be installed in this development. This other development, you're okay. This other development, no, you have to do an STP. Yes, it is important that legislation, but let's just say it's hard to have that legislation, but it should be there.
Okay, so what kind of water are we talking about here that goes through the system, and what then can you do with it? Because look, I think that what you're talking about here could be absolutely revolutionary, and I know that there's some people who are using it already and using this recycled water, which is, in some cases almost as good as new, but are using it then for in-house use, like, flushing and maybe washing. But what kind of water are we talking about? 100% renewed water? How does that work?
Now, most of this water, if you are building a building, if you start a building from scratch and you engage a company like ours to, from the beginning, you can actually take back that water into another tank on top there, do plumbing separately to the toilet, just to reflush the toilet. The toilet is the biggest consumer of water in a house. Yeah, flushing and flushing and flushing and flush. You're going to save about 45% of your, depending on the systems that you have. But the bigger systems that consume, that accommodate a lot of water, you can save about 45% of your water if you reflush, just reflushing. Now,
Robert.
Yes.
This is sewage.
Yes.
You're bringing back into the house.
Yeah.
Smell?
No smell. No smell. No, I'm telling you. You know, I don't know how I'm going to take it.
So that whole treatment has removed the smell.
Even the smell is good.
It has removed the color.
Yeah.
And it comes in at what color is? What color is this water that's entering?
Like water you buy from the
system?
supermarket. Look at our socials
So
and see.
it's clear water.
Yes, it is.
But then you've got to create a new reticulation system that brings in the water into just the pipes that go into the toilet system. And you can use that to flush.
Yes.
You said you can also use it for gardening.
Cleaning and gardening.
Cleaning what?
Like cars outside, not I'll tell you why it is used outdoors mostly.
Okay.
Oh my. There's microorganisms, E. coli, such things.
Yes.
They are killed well. There is the 5th level of cleanliness where you inject chlorine. It's supposed to clean them. But some of them, just to be careful, let's not be very confident that they're all dead, all the microorganisms, because those are the ones that bring issues. So use it outside. The sun usually kills them faster.
Okay.
If you pour it onto the compound,
so you can pour it on the compound.
Yes,
you can wash your parking, if it's Cabro or
Exactly.
whatever parking outside,
not
Mazeras and such,
exactly.
and your car inje.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can water the grass, water the flowers and garden outside. Can you use it for kitchen garden?
Yeah, you can. Yes, you can. It's actually clean water. It's actually okay to use it for garden. Look at it this way.
So you can grow your skuma with this sewage water?
Yes.
Because it's been treated?
Yes. Look at it this way.
Yes.
Would Nema, Kanjo, Warma, all of those bodies allow for this water to be thrown into the drainage, not sewage. Drainage. They allow it. It means that it is clean enough water for people to be able to touch. They are not risking anything. Yes.
Okay. You say it's a treatment plant, but you've also said that you don't use any chemicals or whatever agents. So what are you treating? Because of separation of matter, that is treatment? Or
yes, that is their stages. The first 2 chambers are usually just settling chambers.
Okay.
Water is relatively clean. It's sort of like biodigester water at this stage, after the second stage. Now, the third chamber, the Danish operation that we got trained, is the third chamber collects. You can't give the bacteria sewage. There's a lot of flow in the morning. Everybody's showering, cooking, using the loo, everything. You can't just give it in the morning and then let it dry, let it not have anything during the day.
Yeah.
So there is a third chamber that collects every 15 minutes, programmed. There's a control panel where you program. I'll get to it. This thing is even more complicated.
It collects what?
The sewage from chamber 3.
Oh.
Yes. Takes it to another where
chamber.
the bacteria is.
Okay.
Every 15 minutes.
And this is all happening underground?
Yes.
Okay.
So what you're feeding this bacteria?
You're feeding the bacteria with food, sewage, and also oxygen for it to thrive, for it to be stronger and bigger.
Then from this chamber you go to?
Now that one blows for about 15 minutes because this other water comes in, displacement takes it to another last chamber. It's called a clarifier. Now the clarifier, there are some trademark issues that we do there. That's why some of the water is not clean and some of the water is clean. From other companies, it's not clean. So there is a way of reticulating that water, the dirty water, back into the chamber 1, the dirty water. The water that remains in chamber 5, is actually very, very clean water.
It's all clean.
Clean water, yes.
It has been filtered.
Yes.
But it has come with some of those bacteria that was cooling the poop on the other side.
If you were to test it, you know how we have testing. You say 1,800 of expert
microorganisms found.
What would you find in that water?
Now, the most that you need to look for, these other things are usually dead or finished or taken over by bacteria, and you find none of them inside. But there is the way of measuring cleanliness of water is biochemical oxygen demand and the chemical oxygen demand of the water. If that one, the biochemical oxygen demand is below 20 and the chemical oxygen demand is below 50, it's taken to a laboratory, NEM-accredited laboratory, and they measure all these things. But the biggest impediment to the only reason you cannot throw sewage outside is because of those 2 things. When those two biochemical, BOD and COD is below 20 and 50 respectively, then that water is safe. You can actually use it. You can. Then the last, Eric, you asked a very interesting, you mentioned something very interesting before I forget. This bacteria.
The bacteria that was cooling, were feeding on the other side, fat and all, has been brought into the next chamber.
Yeah. Now, this bacteria, it has to die.
Yeah.
It has to go somewhere.
Rome, you must die.
Yeah. It has to go somewhere. So it goes back. There is a way of taking it back to the first chamber. Remember the first chamber, there is settling.
Yes.
Now, all these solids go to the first chamber. During training now, when we go for training, say in Denmark, you're told that this cake, whoever called it cake, I don't know why they did that.
Stop it.
No, they actually call it cake. So whoever called it
cake.
Yeah, ni kama keki by the way. Ni kama keki. So we were we were trained that one should be exhausted every 5 years. So when we started working, we knew that this client is going to exhaust, and we kept telling clients. But look at where we are being trained in Denmark, very cold area.
Yeah.
Degradation in these tropical countries like Kenya, it happens more because of the heat. So even people we worked for 8 years ago, the cake is still cake, small cake down there. It doesn't need to be exhausted. Yeah, because of degradation and the heat in Kenya as compared to
our
colder
bacteria
European
is
countries.
actually bigger and hungrier.
It's quite strong.
Bacteria is virulent. Let's take a break. 27 minutes to 10. We are talking about water shortage. Is it time we embraced sewage water treatment for reuse? And Robert Mundia is the CEO of BioVend East Africa. This is what they deal with all the time, sewage treatment. And he's taking us through the steps of sewage treatment and then how we can use this for other things, like you've said, external use, garden, kitchen garden. You can use this to kitchen garden. Nyanya ile inatoka hapo.
Strong.
Unatumia moja nzima.
Let's talk about the advantages of this shortly. Good morning. Back shortly after the weather and traffic.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
What are your goals for future study? High academic standards, amazing learning environment, multicultural communities? Well, the Study in Japan Global Network brings you the Study in Japan Fair for Kenya 2023 for students in arts, business, international studies, languages and sciences. Come and meet with 18 Japanese universities on Friday, September 15th at the Embassy of Japan from 10 a.m. Plenty of scholarships are available. Apply before you leave or apply when you land. To join this event, log on to www.studyinjapanforafrica.com now.
Oh, finally! It's my Standard Courier delivery.
At Standard Courier, we know that your time is valuable. That's why we guarantee swift and efficient deliveries to your doorstep every time. Give us a call on 0793.
Through those clouds at 18 in Nairobi. Highs of 26 and lows of 14. We'll see lows of 14 in a partly sunny Nakuru, going to highs of 25. 26 will be the high in a sunny Nyeri at 20 and coming down to lows of 15. It's cloudy at 17 in Eldoret, highs of 23 and lows of 13, and sunny at 27. In Mombasa with highs of 30, and we'll see highs of 30 as well in a partly sunny Malindi at 28. It's 23 and cloudy in Kisumu, highs of 28. And 27 will be the high in a mostly cloudy Kakamega at 21. It's 21 and sunny. Looking into Kampala, highs of 28. And 29 will be the high in a partly sunny Dar es Salaam at 27. 9 degrees and sunny in Johannesburg with highs of 19. And we'll see highs of 29 in a cloudy Lagos. It's 22 and sunny in Kinshasa, highs of 34 and lows of 22. Let's look out into a sunny Beijing at 27. That will be the high Tuesday afternoon. And it's cloudy with rains in Paris, highs of 22 and highs of 23. In a rainy London, it's 22 and clear still Monday night in New York, coming into Tuesday, highs of 28 and lows of 22.
Spice and everything nice.
spice up your life.
All right, traffic has not been too much of a menace this morning, and we're looking at the dregs of it in the CBD. You'll be able to get in and out without an issue, and we're likely to see traffic maybe back later on in the day. But for now, you've done well, folks. Let's know just in case you run into anything on Spice FM at KE on X.
Business News with Spice FM.
I'm Dennis Aseto. Kenyan small businesses will seek to attract Chinese tech firms at the upcoming Kenya International Industry Expo. The 6th Expo will take place from September 21st to 23rd at the Sarita Expo in Nairobi, themed spurring the economic growth and transformation in Kenya through technology. This year's event has been organized by AfriPic Expo Kenya Limited in partnership with the Kenya Investment Authority and the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Kenyans living in the diaspora will now be able to access Absa Bank Kenya services remotely. The lender will allow Kenyans in the diaspora to access savings and payment options through their smartphones, tablets or computers. Remittances have supported Kenya's GDP, with recent statistics from the Central Bank of Kenya showing that they have increased by 3.65% as of May 2023, amounting to $352.1 million. Opposition-led civil unrest that occurred between the months of March and July this year pushed up the cost of healthcare in the country. This is according to a new report squeezing already struggling Kenyans amid high inflation. A study released by the Health Federation and Smart Applications International indicates that consultation, procedure, medication, radiology and laboratory tests, as well as consumables, increased in the affected areas of Nairobi, Kisumu and Mombasa. Egypt has said that Ethiopia's filling of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam reservoir without a consensus with Egypt and Sudan, the two downstream countries, is a violation of the Declaration of Principles previously signed tripartite deal. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed announced on social media X, formerly known as Twitter, the completion of the fourth and final filling of the Gad reservoir. For Spice Business, I'm Dennis Aseto.
Spice FM Business. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4.
With Robert Mundia, CEO BAV in East Africa. He's an expert on matters of sewer treatment. We're talking about sewer treatment in the country and whether we should embrace now that we have all these problems with water. So you've taken us through that whole thing of why we need to have a sewer treatment plant at a local level. But there's what Ndu had asked earlier. Whose responsibility should this be? Should it be a personal responsibility, or should this be a service that's offered by the local authority at whatever level? Municipality, town, city, county. Should it not be that?
It should. It should be everybody. The individuals by themselves and the county. There's something, when Governor Sakaja came here, there's something he talked about the dump site and going to generate electricity from the dump site. That is actually very good. From experience, I know that the people have really tried doing it and they've been unable. Same as the Ruai sewage treatment plant. That is something we can honestly convert do that water and recycle that water and have a lot of water for people.
We can irrigate that entire Ruai.
Yes, generate electricity, briquettes, things like that. But to answer your question, individuals, at some point, the governor said somebody was telling him, you're not cleaning here, but they themselves are the ones who threw that. So individuals should actually just be responsible. Spend just a bit. Do a sewage treatment plant for yourself if you do not want these problems. If you do not want kids outside your compound playing on raw sewage, stepping on raw sewage. The county also, I feel, should take responsibility. For example, they're really doing well in expanding the sewer lines. The sewer lines in Nairobi, when we started the business, was about 20, actually probably 20% of Nairobi. It's now 30. If I'm not wrong, probably over 30% of Nairobi now has sewer lines. Now, all of it has to come all the way to Ruai, really. There are some places, Ruai is the lowest part. As you're looking for gradient to take the sewage, it's the lowest part. but some of them keep busting. You see some places keep busting because the gradient is not really good enough. Why don't you just demarcate land there, do a sewage treatment plant, clean the water nicely? Not, the Ruai one smells sometimes because it's not really the
up to scratch.
Yeah, it is not. So do treatment plants, decentralized treatment plans.
And that's what I'm advocating for. Because you see, if a big developer, for example, City Lisi is a large-scale developer. The others, Kinatatu City, Kina Northlands, would be large-scale developers. So you can say, as a community, as a developer, you are basically operating a small town. So you can run a centralized sewer system. Instead of saying everybody in Tilisi or in Tatu City is sinking their own doing. So you can do that. Then now look at the other areas. If we say the way Syokimau has developed, or Kitengela, or Mlolongo, the county government of Machakos should have a way of dealing with the Mavoko municipality to organize all that sewer in Mavoko and centralize it. Then now you can have a new pipe where you're reticulating and charging. Unataka maji ya water grass, ndio hii pipe yake, and you pay X amount
for it.
It can be a PPP project where even the developer, like say the company, comes in and creates that sewage treatment plant. And then they are given a few years to run it and recoup their money. The county government doesn't really need to spend, maybe just a bit. There's a fee. There's something we are doing with Laikipia County. But, politics.
Change of government.
Everything goes, everything just goes. Kila kitu, yani is just thrown away.
Tulikuwa tunafanya nyinyi nani?
Wapi?
Mulikuwa hapa.
Nitafutie ufanye.
So, if contracts can be drawn, where politics will not be involved, business of counties is left as the business, and the politics of county is left as the politics. Then there are players who will come in and invest.
You know why I'm pushing for this is because this same Ministry of Water is also ministry in charge of sanitation. We had the cabinet secretary here, and there's a lot of focus on water, on what we're doing for water. We are building all these dams, we are collecting, we are doing entire trunking and piping and using the water agencies, but little conversation about sewage and what we are doing with the wastewater. And we don't even have a policy. So there have been a sanitation policy that has been sitting in the ministry, and now it's going to Parliament, taking a long time to even have a conversation. That sanitation policy would talk about this mini-grid sanitation systems, where we don't have to think of, if it's Nairobi, it must be Kanjo taking all the way to Ruai. It can be decentralized. And then that would help, that would support. So if you're an individual and you've bought a plot in Kitengela, you know that in Kitengela there's a company called Kitengela, let's even say BioVend, has a PPP with the county government of Kajiado that they are managing and handling Kitengela sewage. So I know I'm building, I come to you, I apply, I shall connect, where's your pipe? I shall put into your pipe, and thereafter you're also saying I shall also buy.
And you bring in a very interesting conversation. During the climate summit, most of what they were showing is, say you find northeastern dead cows, arid areas. They were showing that photo a lot. Why are those cows dying? Because of water. It's not because of solar. It is because of water. Now, the problem is, and I will call it out, water is not being funded enough by the organizations that fund. Most of the funding goes to solar. Most of the funding goes to biogas. We are still in the same picture, but water funding is being denied. I can't say denied, but there is the funding. Most of the funding goes to other sources, but water is also very, very important on climate change. We messed up for real. Humans messed up. But on water, we haven't yet messed up. The problems will come 30 years from now. 30 years from now, there's even stories in the internet about that there was in 30 years to come, 50 years to come, will be about water, not oil. So should we wait for that time to start fighting? Why don't we start reusing the water?
Looking at how to manage water.
How much of a how many times can you recycle? Or are we saying, I mean, it sounds like a dumb question.
No.
How many times can you put water through the cycle? Or does it doesn't matter? You can just keep sending it through.
Yeah.
So essentially you're working like a wheel. You keep using and sending it back.
Yes.
And it will continue to deliver proper quality water
continue to
for
be
you.
water.
It
yeah,
will.
I mean, does it over time, does it now degrade in terms of quality because it has been recycled? Or are we saying in this process of treatment that every time it goes through the cycle, it will bring to you water as new? Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
It is actually cleaner and better to reuse the water that's already been reused.
Okay.
It is better. It becomes even cleaner.
Okay.
Now, the fact that it is going, there are some systems that can be created where you actually recycle 95% of your water. Yeah. The 5 is actually just waste because of evaporation and stuff. Yes, but imagine a building that is just reflushing the water, reflushing the water, reflushing. Where does that water go to? Nowhere else. It comes back again to the toilets.
Yeah.
It's reflushed.
It is.
That way. So, but it's a bit of a dream to achieve 95%.
Sure.
But there are systems that you can come up and do proper calculations where you recycle so much of your water.
And you can.
Yes.
Okay. So, most of the things that we talk about that are sustainable are also expensive to input the first time. So to put in these systems, are we looking at a severe dent in terms of
the pocket? Good question, do.
Mtu akianza hivyo.
It's a really good question because biodigesters, when somebody has built the house, or come in, go to Siyokima, plot, and the house finished, those people are usually broke most of the time. They do not want to hear expenses. It's just that they cannot enter that house without sewage, a solution for sewage. They will ignore the electric fences and the CCTVs. You can enter the house, but they will not ignore the sewage. They have to do it. Now, biodigesters are cheaper. They come to about 100,000 going lower, depending again on the pipe work and stuff like that. So you find people want to embrace that. They want to say, no, me, I just want a biodigester. Because you've told him the sewage treatment plant is 300,000. Yeah. And you've not done the civil works yet, the chambers. But the plant itself is 300,000. Now, it brings back your comment, brings back again the funding story where we've done documents to try and get funding to reduce the cost of a sewage treatment plant. If we did start manufacturing here locally, instead of bringing those things from Denmark, every time we get a job, you have to wait for 3 months because to be shipped, then clearing and stuff like that. But we are planning maybe in future to be able to manufacture all those filters, manufacture sewage,
or assemble.
Not manufacture, assemble a sewage treatment plant that is going to be plug and play. That will cost 180,000. Now, look at that figure. If you get a contractor, tell him to do for you a soak pit or a septic tank, a soak pit especially, that is properly done by a contractor, properly done. They actually cost like 200,000. A septic tank, if it's done well. So wouldn't you recycle your water? You would better recycle your water and use it for your loan, use it for...
You have other uses for it. I mean, it cuts back on your bills and and headache.
Yes.
Of where you're getting the water for
also all these other things. In terms of waste.
And also thinking, what's the point of just wasting it
Exactly.
if you can reuse it?
Exactly.
We had some young men here, 2 young gentlemen, who were studying in Kenyan universities. And then they got into this government program. And the government sponsored them to go and spend, was it a year or 2 in Israel?
2.
And among the things that they came back and tell us, the irrigation and all, the management of water in Israel is at another level. Because they are thinking of everything, how much can we reuse, how much each drop of water is useful. Now we bring back to the conversation about drought and the effects of drought and the fact that for very many months in a year, some parts of this country, there's nothing that happens. All you're seeing is your animals getting emaciated as you're waiting for the eventual death if the government does not come and buy off your livestock. But then we could do all these things in terms of water reticulation and reusing all the water that we have.
Yes.
How far do you have an association of people who are playing in the sanitation field that is pushing these, that's advocating?
No, right now the players in the STP industry, especially sewage treatment plant industry, are not too many. But you bring in a valid point where, and maybe I should call them out even in this show, that probably people need to get together. Because there should be some regulation in that industry. Because there are people who are saying, some people are coming in with systems that they say that this one's recycled sewage water while they don't. That's actually very, very dangerous to the client.
How do you operate, actually, now that you bring that up? Do you get, there's WASREB.
Yeah.
WASREB is the regulator for this sector. Do you get a license from WASREB for you to operate?
What
or do you
happens-
just get a kanjo license, a business permit?
Yeah, it's a kanjo license, but NEMA also. And the most important one is for every system. After every system, there is a water analysis report that is usually done in NEMA accredited laboratories.
All right.
So you could get a blanket license, but your job starts deteriorating and you're endangering the lives of people. So for every job, you're tested for every job. And it should be that way. You should, in fact, the people like us should be able to tell the client, we are going to do for you a test, water analysis report in a laboratory.
Okay.
Get the parameters. The parameters are okay. Now you can discharge the water or touch it.
This is it.
Yes.
But then for me to contract you, what should I look out for in terms of just knowing that this is a legit enterprise? What kind of licenses should I demand of a contractor who's telling me that they can do for me sewage?
History of discharge licenses from that company.
Okay.
How many have I done?
Yeah.
How many have this company done? What are the parameters? It's hard to know the parameters. Just go to the client, go to the company, tell them you want to see the job they've done, how clean their water is. Before, even just using the eyes, it's okay. But water discharge licenses that the company has had, or these water analysis reports that the company has done for each individual client.
Right.
That is a way of knowing what kind of people you're dealing with.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you think, sorry,
okay.
do you think there should be a regulator? I mean, should you people fall under WASREB, the Water Services Regulatory Board?
Yeah, we should. And
So those are the ones that basically give you a license. You come in to operate, you want to start a business, there's certain basics.
Yes.
This is how you operate. You must have this kind of, somebody with this kind of expertise in the organization.
Yes.
You must do this and the other. And then that also opens you up for regular inspections.
Yes.
So that the work that you're doing is also being re-inspected by NEMA, by WASREB.
And WARMA.
And WARMA.
Yes.
So we know that also WARMA, because you are affecting the water table.
Yeah.
So you have those three agencies that are working with you. Are they currently?
They are.
Apart from NEMA.
Let me be honest. These guys are rough on people who damage the environment when they find out. You know, there's these other people who come, let me not mention, but they come, they check, they get a few shillings and they go. These other guys are very, very serious.
Which ones?
The NEMAs, the WARMAs, they are really, really serious. I've seen people being arrested even. You know, it's a criminal offense. To discharge effluent. Yes, it's a criminal offense. So I've seen CEOs of industries being arrested and being told now, you know, till you do this,
Yeah.
you're not going to open this industry of yours.
Right.
Yeah. So they are really serious on that, but maybe, as you're saying, maybe regulation, self-regulation, having these companies come together, go say there should be licenses for discharge. Yeah, everybody should be serious. That's what I mean.
I mean, looking towards sustainability, in 2019, 2020, we saw the directive that came out. I mean, there had been murmurings of it before, that every development or every house built after a certain time then had to have solar panels.
Yes.
It was requirement. It is right now. Apartment block, whatever. And when we're talking about sustainability and then going towards sustainable sources of energy, and now here we are talking about water, there's a crisis, sustainable sources of water. Do you think it would be then necessary to have it almost as a directive that must be? Because we're saying, look, the capacity for infrastructure is already limited because of many factors, right? But we're also saying that in terms of supply, we're hurtling towards a place where there will be a crisis soon. So shouldn't it be then at the point where government says, okay, folks, we've seen a solution that works. We've seen it working in other countries. It is possible to do it in Kenya. should we not have developments then? Should there not be an insistence then on sustainable sources of water via this treatment mechanism?
It is so. You've said it as it should be. Immediately you get into there are shortcuts that people are taking, and maybe because of expenses, somebody has done the apartment block, the exhauster to get that exhauster out is so expensive, probably 9,000 a visit, and they do it every 2 weeks. They are bound to release that sewage probably at night. There are places you go to where
they do.
You go. The smell is only at night.
Yep.
Yeah, and sometimes you find a river as you're driving. It's a river. You think it is a river of clean water. It's not a river of clean water. It's a river in the drainages. It's a river of sewage. So, legislation again. We come back to legislation, where you find that this maybe even start with a particular area. As we were discussing about these areas of Mlolongo, black cotton soil areas, and where the rock is hindering percolation of water. Maybe such areas, people should be told now, no, you have to be. And there's Ngong. Ngong also has a very serious issue of you can't really do a by-register in Ngong. No, and especially this, as you're going from Bulbul going towards Ngong up there, that area, I'm very, very sure there's a problem. So those, there should be legislation. They should start with such areas,
right?
The notorious areas, the places where you find this black cotton soil. Then gradually go as it picks up, slowly by slowly. Yeah.
There's a network called Kewasnet. Kewasnet is a Kenya water and sanitation network, which ideally should be like the umbrella body, the one that brings together everybody, all the players in this as an advocacy group, as an association or business management organization that should be advocating for issues of sanitation in the country. Yeah. Of course, it's quiet. Maybe you should join it, Robert.
Maybe,
and go in and take leadership and say, you know what, hii Kewasnet inafaa itusaidie, kama itusaidie tuvunje, tufungue ingine. But thank you very much for joining us, Robert.
Yes,
Someone tells me you're a pilot.
No, I worked for the airlines before I resigned and got into business. Yeah, that was 2 years.
That was Gitambo.
They also need help.
They
also need help.
Even those ones. They need treatment plants.
All of them, everybody. Sewage is important. Let's not take it for granted.
Asante sana.
Yes.
Robert Mundia is the CEO of BioVend East Africa. He's been here today. We've been talking about sewage treatment and the importance of thinking about treating sewage for reuse because of the water shortages that we have. Thank you very much for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. Have a lovely Tuesday. See you again tomorrow. It's now 10 o'clock.
Spice up